Hello, 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 hello. Audio's working. 10 viewers, wow. Well, as you can see, oh my god, I got nope, surely that's not. Okay, yes, sorry, just updating my stream there. Notifications, and that's everything, that's old news. Right, so as you can see, my camera doesn't work. Let me know in chat if the audio does. It seems to. Battery died on the phone, so we don't get to see my lovely face today. 10 viewers, can that be right? Live chat, don't see anything written there. Surely they're not all ghosts. Oops, a daisy. Right. Hello, hello. Chat, anyone in chat? Is it working? 10 viewers. Audio input should be working. What's up, K-King? Oh, we have got some chat. The mic does work. Great, thanks. Thanks very much, Usama. Right, so we're going to do the TA. I'll probably get onto that and make it a reasonably quick one because as you can see the camera doesn't work. And busy day. So starting on the daily, no, we'll go on down to something slightly more visible, see how the day is starting. As you can see, I've got the Bollinger Bands on and the MACD off, which is the only real difference from the chart since you'll have last seen it. We dropped out of this formation, may have been ascending triangle, may have been flag, and come back down to retest the breakout zone of this formation, which larger formation, which is definitely a triangle. Symmetrical triangle. It's all very difficult in the 15-minute time frame. Bear with me, please. We don't need these drawings. In fact, we don't need any of these drawings, really, do we? Let's just wipe all of them for now. That's a clearer picture. And we can see that ultimately that ascending triangle is still there. And we can draw it back on, but everything will come back on. There's the top of it, which we call the supply line, and here's the bottom of it, which we would imagine to be the demand line. So get rid of these drawings again. So we're in a period of flux. This is a period of consolidation / distribution. We'll know for sure once the pattern has been resolved. Can I just wipe all drawings? That'll do it, won't it? So I don't have to remove all drawings. Thanks very much. So we can start on a clean chart with just what we're looking at, right? That's the formation. Generally speaking, these things break after 75%. Very difficult to know where it started from, but let's imagine it's not here, but instead here. 982, 70% of that would be here. Not giving me any of this. This is not working that tool. Well, we can see that we're obviously very far into this period of consolidation, and we can draw a measured move on this triangle and say if this is the top of it and this is the bottom of it, then should we go into the top, you could expect us to retest this resistance around 295, and if we're going to the bottom, expect us to be testing our very low levels in around 33. So two very dramatic pictures painted by this overall formation. But that's a 15-minute chart and it doesn't do us justice, so go back up and see how realistic that is. Already see that that triangle doesn't look realistic there. Measured move from it, so that looks quite pretty now. A little bit like the start of a rocket ship, some might say. So let's start on a reasonable time frame and go through the TA like we normally would. This is a daily. We should to have some form of, we'll get rid of the Bollinger Bands and we'll stick on what will we stick on? Volume. So as we can see, the volume is tailing off as we come through this period of, or this pattern. Really like that being on that, but anyway. So yes, as volume tails off, we can see that we're coming up for a cross on these EMAs. It would be the 21 below the 50, that would be negative. We're coming to the period here of, this is either this is the triangle, or it's a slightly more pronounced this, and we've broken out and this is a retest, which is what you would expect if this is the formation, if this indeed was the formation that we clearly broke out of. You can see that this price action is significantly different from beforehand. Then you would expect a retest. And where might we get? Well, this made it up to this level of resistance, what we'd set in here, and then you could say that this perhaps would form the cup part of a cup with handle. If that was true, this pullback, we would expect it to be at least and around 50% of this move from the low to the high. So we'll check that out using a fib. And this would be the top, this would be the bottom. Let's drag this across so we don't have to look at it too much. And we'll zoom in and check it out. So there you go. I mean, we did that live, so you know I didn't make that up. There's the 50%, there's the bounce from the wick, and we came back up a little bit. It's also testing this area of the breakout, which is clearly when we could have defined this trend has changed. And so on the daily time frame, my TA would suggest that we'd find a bounce here if we were to go up. And perhaps I said that in the last stream, I can't really remember. But I think I said something along those lines. If we were going to come back and retest, that might be possible. Let's just imagine though that that's my TA would suggest a bounce, and that bounce we can go on and analyze later. But let's imagine that I hadn't come to that conclusion already, and we were still assuming this to be part of a downtrend, which wouldn't be correct. You know, here's I'll show you what the trend we're in is. Well, actually, we'll start first with the horizontal support and resistance lines so that everybody can see them getting put on, because I'll use them later. See that here is perhaps this formation low. So we'll put in one, drag that over so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the low. And then this is the next low, and the next low, and the next low, and I potentially would predict that this demand line will continue from this point onwards. I'll check the chat in a second and see that I'm getting everybody's concerns. It might be that I'm missing messages, but because I'm doing it on this screen, I can't see the chat at the same time, but I'll get that up later. So this was the low. These are the horizontal resistances below, or sorry, supports below us. This is what we're assuming to be a downtrend, and we can see that if, let's identify the trend. Well, if it starts here, right, this is a distinctly different price action from here. And macro level, we've got a low, a higher low. Price action changes in its nature, and we go into this formation. We've got a new higher low, right? It's higher than over here, it's higher low. And then another one, this is the next low, and another one. In the meantime, we have this is our previous, I mean, it's not really, but this is the new time where we got up to the retrace from this drop, and then we came back, and then we asked what sort of a trend are we on, right? This, you could say the macro action is still dominating us from the supply side, but you would expect that, you know, this is a very rough and vague formation. There was our high on this run. Here was a higher high. You could define it here if you wanted, but that works for me. Then you can say low, then you can say, well, this is a lower high here, because we're going to use this as a next point of reference, and then a further lower high, and then another lower high. Or is it? Becomes the question. And we can see that, in fact, this last one is actually, well, we didn't close above, we did touch above. So here we can say this is an equal high. If we then look at our indicators to see what was the strength of those two thrusts relative to each other, this one and this debatable one, we can see that the RockyOutcrop DMI has given us this period of flux, so we can expect that when this box in the background disappears, whatever price we're at here will then lead to a period of flux after the volatility crunch ends, and we then may bounce up and back again, or which would be reasonable if we were to say we're debating this level. If we're debating it, that we can imagine that price action itself will have something to say once it gets back here, if and when that happens. And we can see that looking at the RSI, that there was significantly more strength. This is what we're comparing, this high here, significantly more than there was here. So we can say that those people who were, if we're saying that this is an uptrend, those people who were buying it up and causing the RSI to increase and get towards this zone, they were trying harder here than they were here. And if we're to say that that means that the price, did it get higher? Well, technically it did. You know, it didn't get higher than over here exactly, but that's not the high enough. Let's move that one over so we can get this exact comparison. Here we're comparing, so that's, whoops, around here. Yeah, so you can see anyway, more or less, wherever you measure it from, the strength of trend or the strength of RSI is much stronger here. And so that would, as our high, we didn't make a new high, a significantly new one. You would either say this is continuation, because this is a new high, if you want to look at it that way, even though it isn't then here. Or you would say, but it is then here. Or you would say it's divergent, and that we can expect, because the oscillator has made a new high, that we could expect some follow through in the price action. But then, you know, if you're going to evaluate that, that's not really the real high that you'd be measuring against on your indicator. The real high is back over here. So this high, and are we going to really call this a high? Well, I mean, we're just putting in a series of higher lows. We can't say that this is a macro high yet. And so on the daily time frame, RSI isn't telling us all that much, other than it agrees with price action. We may or may not be in an uptrend or a downtrend. We've got a clear series of higher lows and a debatable higher high. So that's the higher high, higher low, support and resistance chat. Now if we undo all of those drawings, it's probably quickest we just hit bye. Okay. And back to the previous TA that we were doing with regards to if this was, say, something like a cup and handle. It's again, you're really kind of squeezing this in here, and there's other formations that you could call this, but if this part of it was following that sort of psychology, then we would expect something in and around this 50% level, which this has been moved a little bit. Top there, bottom there, 50% there, right? So we've dropped down below the 50% here as the markets have opened. And we're putting in what looks like the start of a green candle. So that's that broad picture without making any predictions, other than to say that this indicator here, which is very useful, and somebody asked me where you get it, I'll put the link in the chat in a minute, is that when it closes we could see a period of flux in the prices. A continuation of this previous pattern may take us up and down again, maybe a strong up and down move, or down and up alternatively. And we've defined that this may indeed, if it is a low, be a continuation of this trend, which on our indicators we can also say exists, in that there's a series of higher lows, but there isn't anything on the top side really to define this other than from here to here, which is just very unreliable. It's not robust. So that's the daily time frame. We're going to go up a time frame now to the 2-day rather than down, because we did so much in the previous live video and the video this tea will be finished quickly if I don't add something new. I'll quickly check the chat and see if anything just said anything. Oh my goodness, look, oh my god, 77 viewers, bloody flipping heck, what the bloody hell is going on? Hello everybody. What's up, K King? Hi K King, how are you doing? Hello, hello, the mic doesn't work, thank you very much. Audio's good, good, great. I'm a convert to your channel. Hi Paul, thanks very much. Love the no bullshit. I'm not a spring chicken but a mature ape. Nice to hear. Great. Apparently a lot of my viewers, the majority of my viewers, are between the ages of 35 and 45, so I think that's slightly high for the industry. Don't ask me why. Maybe, like you say, I don't talk too much bullshit, and I don't put out a lot of the stuff that the young ones are desperate to see. None of the flash and the jazz really over here. Griffin, yo, how's it going? I'm a convert, read that. El Diablo Barudo, how's it going, man? MOASS is coming, hold on to your butts. Hit that like button. Thanks very much, KK. Yes, please. Audio is a little low. Okay, I can try turning that up. Can't I? Can I? Can't I? Is that the right expression? Where are we? Here's this. I do this, and I put it to here. And I think that's getting louder. It might even be slightly too loud for some people. Turn it to there, right up to that's the full whack of yellow. Tell me how you like that. Solitary Council. Hi, I've noticed your comments. Thanks very much, mate. Hey, Jamie, love the channel. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. GME to the moon. Damn straight. Sorry, muffled. Is it muffled? Am I muffled? That's because my very bad mic technique, KK. Lucas, what's a good buying price for today? Well, I can tell you that if you got GME at $120, you'd probably be laughing your face off in the future, but a good buy-in for GME is any price, generally speaking, considering what we're looking at on the upside, right? If you're looking at it from a trader's perspective, you're trying to get the very best price today for the very best and most efficient form of trading, and never sit underwater and get the maximum move. In which case, you may be looking down, and we'll look at that again. I'll cover that at the end of this show. But most of the people who tune in are looking for a reasonably good price to get in at today, so that they're not spending many hours over the rest of the week regretting their decision because they could have got it cheaper. But at the same time, you're looking at it in terms of the cost benefit, like what sort of upside are we looking at? Then I mean anything anywhere around anywhere we've been is fantastic. But I'll get on to answering your question properly shortly. What a good buy price today. Ah yes, the Dorito chart, looking good. Yes, the Dorito chart. Isn't it just like the Dorito chart, the famous Dorito pattern as well? Crunch. What's up, bro? I'm here on recommendation from Andy Lee. Yes, I need to thank Andy again so much. I didn't realise when Andy was first commenting on my videos, and I was commenting on his, that the person that we were each covering GME on YouTube. We just thought each other were nice people commenting on each other's videos, and then we realised who each other were, and we're like, oh my god, you're actually that Andy Lee. And really glad that I got speaking to the guy. He's such a nice guy. It's not just the tone of his voice and the way he presents his information that is so easy listening and so enjoyable to watch, but the way he walks around his area in Taipei and the things you get to see going on in the background, and how forward he is with his personality and his life. He's so authentic, and yeah, that ASMR side of Andy Lee is fantastic. It's great to have someone like that in community. So all that's just what I like about the guy. I actually am incredibly grateful for how he went out of his way to recommend this channel to his viewers, which has I mean, the history of this YouTube channel is so really dependent on things like that. I started the channel over a year ago. Up until 2 months ago, I had 47 subscribers, and then I made a video on GME, which people liked, and had 1,000 subscribers and monetized the channel, and then slowly built up to about 1,400 until yesterday when Andy recommended me, and now I'm on 2,400, which is amazing, and I'm really grateful to Andy for that. Ape Andy, what a legend. Jungle VIP, thank you so much, Andy. Can't wait to thank him in person one day. So welcome everybody who's come over from Andy's channel. I appreciate him just as much as you guys. Vince, his camera isn't working today. Yes, I know my camera. Well, it was, but had I been on stream, had got it done as I wanted on time, then yeah, I would have had it, but it broke. So I'm off for the moment. Welcome, congrats on finding another hidden gem. Is that me or you? I think it might be the audience. You guys are the real hidden gem. And this is one of the things I wanted to get across in the video I did yesterday on why we trade. Oh, you might hear the rain. It's just started pelting down outside my window. Why we trade. And it was about how there is no leader of our movement, really, is there? I mean, it has become a cultural zeitgeist. It is a movement, but we don't have one central leader. Not just because of the malicious and spurious legal proceedings that were taken against Roaring Kitty, which led him to unfortunately be unable to do live streams as he was previously. Wow, I got a super chat, amazing. Which has kind of taken him from the lead role. He didn't claim it. We put him there. It's taken him from our King Kong and kind of spread the movement laterally, and so a sense decentralized it. I've seen the nature of that in the way that we where we manifest ourselves online. When it was previously very concentrated on Seeking Alpha and Wall Street Bets, now it's all over the shop. I mean, I've got a subreddit myself trying to help add to the overall body of information. So what was I started talking about there? I have no idea, but it's great that we're all involved in this, and I think you guys are actually the hidden gem rather than any one particular focal point on YouTube. Certainly not me, and wouldn't myself adopt a role. But definitely happy to help as many people as possible. Where am I? Good to see you, mate. Yes, Griffin, great to see you. Hi at Richard. Hi everybody. I'm not seeing every message. Oh, hi everyone. Richard Richard Latvia. Sorry. Why was I reading that like it was South American? No idea. This is like getting one-on-one 5-star GME TA. Have I actually done any good TA yet? I don't know. I'm sort of getting warmed up there, looking at the daily time frame. Jacked, mate. I'm pretty stoked. Jamie came along just on time, like he promised. Yes, slightly later, if I'm being completely honest. My battery issues on my phone were consternating and delaying me. Smash that like button, people. I'd love if you hit like. That'll definitely be good for the channel. I think that my current like rates are around 10%. Which is slightly less than the average I've heard, which I was surprised about, because the comments are so very positive, and I seem to get such many positive. Oh, there's that super chat. I forgot to talk about that. It's another one actually. Jesus Christ, oh my goodness, pardon my language. Yeah, so I was strange. I was thinking, why is that? Is it just because like the nature of my audience? So many of us are 35 to 45 or whatever it is the YouTube demographics tell me, and to us it's not it's not as natural to just like hit like, whereas some of the viewers like some of the other YouTubers track slightly younger audience, and they turn up and they'll hit like straight away, regardless, because they're more predisposed to that type of attitude. So perhaps, and any likes are appreciated, and like I do very surprised by how many I get. It was partly because I'm surprised by how many people have been tuning in, but yeah, so if I could get that stat up, it would be brilliant. But then also the channel is doing so good that I don't really, I'm certainly not going to go out here and like beg you to do it. If you think the content's good enough, fantastic, thank you very much. Same with that's the way it's getting shared. If you think it's good enough, thank you very much. Right, back to the chat and get through some of these messages today so that I can then get on to doing some more useful TA. I see Luke in the comments there. Thanks for your donation the other day, Luke. That was good of you. Thank you very much. Where else have I got here? Where I got to that? Griffin, smash the like button. I've been cross-posting all over Reddit. Thanks, mate. Like a pest, but fuck it. This lad has been an accurate 8 for fucking months, and Sound Lad 2, thanks very much. What's good buying for today? Did we already cover that? I'm not sure. 158/160. Somebody asks. Lucas asked that. Thanks for the content, by the way, really informative. We'll get onto that in a minute, Lucas. Luke, hey yo, hi Luke. Got him. Oh, you're off today, KKS. Rare treat. I'm now buying a house in Hampstead. That sounds very nice. Hampstead is a lovely place. Going full Yankee in England. Posh mode. What? Posh mode activated. What? Yo, hello, Ape Andy just sent me. Yes, Fruity, nice one. Congratulations, thanks for coming. Thanks, Ape Andy. Happy to join the new fam. Excellent. Welcome, fam. Look at you, Griffin. Well done. 8 between 35-45 can confirm. Dad puns are bad puns. Hi, dad puns are bad puns. Thanks very much. Got your message. Try responding to your email and then joining the Discord as per your invite, and got trapped in an infinite login loop. So I'm not sure what that's about, but I'll get back to you separately. Nice, look perfect. Yay, glad you're live. 28 from Morocco. Howdy, Morocco. You might have enough Reddit karma to post now, by the way. Haha, I suspect that's because you've been upvoting my stuff. Thank you very much. I actually checked this morning and I still don't. I have award karma and other things, but I don't have enough post and comment karma, which is the problem, is because I can't comment or post. So so I'd have to do it elsewhere to get boosted up there, which would mean, you know. Anyway, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully, eventually, I'll break the threshold. You sound great. Thank you very much, Jason. 30 from London. Howdy doody, London. I think I saw your message. Prince Harry's holding the line. Thanks very much, Prince Harry. That's great. You're putting yourself to good use. I like the compliment, Jamie. Turn 54. You don't really, are you? Cool. 50 from Miami. Nice one. It's great to see so many wise people in the audience. Wise. His musings saved running a big loss. Great, that's Griffin, keeping everybody happy. Also hear from Ape Andy, great. Stops in crypto, bit of a sale today. 147 viewers. Holy crap, guys, this is incredible for me. I'm kind of getting sort of weirded out by how many people are watching. Wow, this is brilliant. Let's hope the 13th is squeeze day. 13th, what day is the 13th? The 13th will be a Wednesday. Yes, that is a good day for things to squeeze. Actually, it'd be better if it was on a Tuesday and a Thursday, because that's when I'm live from now on. But mind you, if it happens on the Wednesday, it doesn't matter, right? I'm going live on the squeeze. Everybody upvote tree spotting on Reddit. Thank you very much. If you do, that would be great. Just hit 100 viewers online. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that. Ape Andy brought me here too. It's another donation. I'm going to get to see where the donations come. You aren't asking me for anything. You're just giving me money, which is incredible. What I will do with all of these donations is put them towards a camera and a lens, you know, and my own money, obviously, because that won't work out. I bought a bot. I didn't buy anything. I adopted a monkey when we hit 1,000 subscribers. And I was thinking I'd maybe adopt another one at 2,000, but we just blasted right through that, so I'm going to have to think of something better. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. Bro, the Why We Trade video was awesome. Glad you liked it, Luke. It was supposed to give everybody a bit of a boost and put forward more of that idea of how it's an individual pursuit, isn't it? We're a leaderless, but certainly not directionless organisation. Got our collective. Got a few coming over from GME Discord as well. Happy days. Great. Thanks, guys. Audio's much better. Great. Everyone, don't forget to hit like, if you like. Do you think inflation will have a positive or negative impact on GME? Well, I think GME is a market dynamics play, so it's out with the fundamentals and to a certain degree technical analysis. And certainly from second level to fundamentals like inflation, but I can't see inflation as being good for anything, especially the mountain of it that's coming around the corner. Look forward to hey all, hey, it's Russ, how's it going? Great to see you. Darren's there, channel's blowing up. I know it's crazy. Andy Lee's here we are. Everybody say hello to Andy in the chat. We love Ape Andy, and here he is tuning in. What a fantastic moment this is. This is a seminal moment in the stream. Hey Andy, thanks everyone saying hello to him already, but then you guys all know him, so of course you would do. Hey Andy, thank you so much for your shout out in the video the other day, and it was great to see you, especially with your collar popped. I could really tell we were in for some business. You reminded me of myself when I was really at it, so thanks for giving us these updates and doing all this work, Andy, especially in such a positive and uplifting way as you do. Satori Kanjo, raise banana to Andy Ape. If I had the camera on, I'd be raising my banana to it right now. Scrooge McDuck impression is spot on. Aye, God, somebody was telling me how much I looked like Mr. Pickles from Rugrats the other day. If you are in the 35 to 45 year old age bracket, you'll probably know that show. And I did, and I thought, geez, I haven't thought of that since I was about 7 years old. Turned on the YouTubes and looked at the dad, and I was like, wow, how did I turn into Mr. Pickles from Rugrats without realising it? I actually am him right now. Ape Andy gives me the Bob Ross feelings. Me too. Where are all Bob Ross's paintings? Did somebody ever find them yet? Everybody loves this video. Thanks. I've got another donation. Oh my goodness. Are they saying get round to doing some frickin' TA and stop it, Jamie? Your voice is straining my subwoofer. Okay, is that because I am too bassy, or is it because I need to turn down the volume a little bit. Let's try to turn down a tiny smidgen. Turn it down a smidgen more. Okay, now we're, oh shit, I'm hitting the red again. Let's go a tiny wee bit more down. Okay, I don't want to strain anybody's subwoofers. Doge is such a scam. It is certainly volatile. Certainly volatile. You turned me to Ape Andy after watching your May technical analysis. Great. Oh, you saw it there and turned in. That's great. Yeah, it's great that I'm sending people the other direction as well. I certainly feel like I owe Andy one in that respect. If you do want to share the love, as everybody seems to have been doing with me, and I'm so very grateful for, head over to Ape Andy. He's Andy Lee. He does videos on GME. If you type in Ape Andy Lee GME in YouTube, he's the one that'll come up. You'll recognise his videos. He's in Taipei. It looks lovely, and sometimes you hear lovely birds around. And you'll notice him by his dulcet tones. Also, if you are signing up to other people and sharing the love in that way, RockyOutcrop, who makes all the indicators that I use on my charts and taught me my best, everything I know about TA and all the secret stuff that I don't generally share with most people, then he's the person to share it. He's to see RockyOutcrop on YouTube. So also give him a shout out. I give him a shout out. You give him a like and a view if you like. Are you worried by seeing the dip in the past 2 days? No, that's from Gary. No, I'm not worried at all. If anything, I appreciate it. I wasn't planning on adding to my position when we were in around 178, you know. I was thinking, especially with it looking like, as it still kind of does in my perspective, that we're in a, that we're conforming to a period of positive accumulation. And I thought that probably it would be difficult to get, you know, GME at 120, 140, 160 again. I thought that would perhaps have been me finished adding to my position. But now that I see there's these donations coming in, and I can't quite have enough to get a microphone yet, I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll wait till my next actual payday from trading, when I'll be taking drawdown on my own account to live my life. And at that point I'll get the microphone and the camera and so on. And in the meantime, I'll just put these donations and the other money I've got into more GME if we get to an attractive level, which I'll tell you what price that'll be later on today. I might not get it. I'll obviously be putting these orders in at what I feel are like bargain basement prices, which are still relatively high to recent price action. But yeah, so perhaps I will add more. So I'm not worried about price action falling. If you've seen my sort of stuff before, especially like the first live stream I tried doing, which was like a test and is now private on my stream, so if you got to see that, you're one in a very few people. And then the other one I did the other day, which was essentially the GME technical analysis for May. Like I really enjoy it when the price is going against my hopes. And that sounds deviant. That's not what I mean. It's that I enjoy being proved right in the face of and confounding expectations, and the best environment and setting to do that in is when the odds really look like they're against you. And that's always been what I've appreciated most about delivering opinions to people. Like, it's all well and good if the price is going up and you say it's going up and it continues to going up, but like there's not very much rewarding about that. It's more when you're able to conquer your fears and your greed and say, this is where I think the price is going, despite all the emotions inside me that are flushing around like a washing machine. So no, I'm not worried about the dip of the past 2 days. Like, I wasn't worried about the dip of the past 2 days, nor was I worried about the dip from 400 down to 40. You know, not worried at all, like Gary. Delighted, if anything, delighted. The way we trade, Vid was such a great change of pace from all the hype shows. Yeah, it is a little bit of a change of pace. I was a little bit worried putting these sort of things out there, because to a certain degree, you know, articulating these thoughts and these feelings that we all have as traders in such a direct and confrontational way could seem to be me presenting myself as a thought leader, which I don't mean to do. You know, there is no arrogance here. I'm just an ape like everybody else. But so yes, not but yes. So I felt a little bit degree that that everybody is their own hero. So I didn't want to be putting myself as the center of the story, so to speak. And it sort of feels as though I was maybe anytime you adopt that position, or you try and communicate those sort of messages, sometimes I feel weary of putting my feet in it in that respect. So I'm glad it had went down well. Certainly the sort of thing designed for people to coalesce around, help people feel good. And when you are trading, it's very isolated. I don't know how sure how it is for everyone watching, but my approach to trading, it does lead me to be isolated from other people quite a lot. And when you think about things, you don't often speak your TA aloud, and so much of it is repetitive and conflicting. So it can make for quite a turbulent thought process, and it's really good to get your thoughts out and express them. Kind of like debriefing doing these streams. Dodge is a scam. Anyway, I've missed so much time doing TA. I've got 122 viewers, so I can see it's dropped by about 40. And I haven't done anything on the chart, so I'll go back there and I'll skip through most of these chats. If you've anything particularly desperately I'm missing, would you recommend selling my AMC position for more JMD, or better questions, would you? I've only got a very, I think I got like 3 shares in AMC. It's totally, my position in AMC is not significant whatsoever. And I only got them just to, we were all getting shares in GME at the time, and some people were talking about AMC, and it wasn't that I was desperate, like, oh, where's the squeeze going to actually come? I better get some AMC as well. Nah, nah. I was focused on GME, but I could tell that there was a degree of similarity in the approach that people were taking, and you want to help out a little bit, so I got 20-30 quid's worth of AMC or whatever it was. But so would I don't really care, I'm just going to leave it there. But what did I say to other people? The potential top on GME is significantly higher than on AMC, isn't it? I mean, even if you're a fan of AMC, you'd agree with me probably. And so but will the squeeze be contagious? Yeah, highly contagious. I reckon it'll have a RO number of about 1 to 1. So yeah, what would I recommend doing? Well, I mean, it does. I'm not going to say to anybody take your money out of AMC. I can say that when it tops, you could probably still have plenty of time to take it and put it into GME. But then we might be at a stage of the squeeze there where there's no need really to be buying anything, because the hedge funds will be buying everything they can get their hands on. But you would be able to, of course. So it's very much up to yourself. And I don't give direct, and frankly, I can't give financial advice, which is what that would constitute. But I would say I like your thinking with the way you expressed the question. ETC. Good news, they do, yeah. Is there not some problem with eToro? With they not also subject now to some sort of liquidity restrictions that may or may not lead them to piss around? That's a question I'd like to get answered. I'm sure other people know more than I do about it. RockyOutcrop's here. Hey, Rocky. I was going to get Rocky on to do something particular on this stream if he's up for it. But now that my camera's broken, I'm not sure. I was wondering if he might like to do. He's really good at Elliott Wave, and I thought when I was looking at it myself, with the different thrusts on the moves and the different retracements to the various fib levels, I thought, hey, there is a case to be made for Elliott Wave on this. And then the local Elliott Wave expert that is RockyOutcrop, I thought, if I could get him on the stream to do it, that would be really value add for the channel, and people would really appreciate it. So if you're up for doing that, Rocky, let me know, and I'll try and arrange it via the Discord, and we'll get you on this stream. If you're here, and if you hear that, Andy Lee is here too, yes, and thank God that he is. He's here for a while at least, and we really appreciate it. I did some XRP TA. You did do that for Andy, that's great, but didn't notice you in the stream. Maybe he wasn't able, because Roy was probably doing his own one at the time, eh? Everyone come from Andy. Oh my God, Brendan Donaldson donation $34. Jeepers McBobso. That's amazing. Something I could... Brenda, is that your way of telling me to get back and do some TA and stop talking nonsense? I completely understand if it is. What's your bottom for GME? 120, Lucas. Well, in the short to medium term. I mean, what eventually, entropy kicks in, the universe expands, everything gets cold, and GME eventually will probably drop back down again, talking, 30 million years. Unless, of course, we've all digitalized our consciousness and somehow we're still using companies at that stage, I wonder. In case GME could live forever. That's nice, Brenda. Thanks, Brenda. It is really nice of you. Brenda Robinson kicked the door in there. Yeah, I do have a significant AMC position, so I'm interested. Well, I could do some quick TA on AMC if you think that's be worthwhile, or I'll stick around. Everyone here and knows me and is in this channel is here for GME. Winky Wonky Donkey, that's his real name, by the way. I have more AMC than GME. Okay, right, well, I'll probably cover some of that. P-Pro is still running from yesterday. eToro set automatic stop losses back in February when it spiked, did they? Automatic stop losses? Well, I suppose some people would appreciate that. I'd want you to get your fucking hands off my assets and stop telling me what to do, eToro. The prices on eToro are shocking. Yeah, okay. And also the whole idea like, oh, copy somebody else because they're good at trading in your crap. I mean, what? No thanks, eh? I mean, I'd rather lose money getting good at it so that, you know, like, anyway, I'm not interested in copying people. As you probably gathered, eToro, so the price on eToro, yeah, demand a large crowd. Alright, I've gone through TradeSpot and RockyOutcrop, which saying quality. That would be good, yeah. Andy Lee, Brother 8, Jamie, this Andy 8, Boston Superstonk. That was not deleted by mods. Wow, it was not deleted by mods. That'd be amazing. When the comment is Ape Andy's recommendation of TradeSpotting. Wow, thank you very much, Andy. Gary again, surely if GME reaches as you predicted 69,420 and above, no joke, the amount of people who will be holding then will be causing a complete crash in the market, literally a million millionaires. Yeah, a million millionaires. I mean, the crash of the market, you see, this is the thing, right? When I first was asked, is it possible that we could get to $10 million a share? You know, there's like, I mean, I'm a huge advocate of the market dynamic theory, and that supports the hypothesis that there's a limitless top. But when it was put to me that the new floor should be 10 million, which was first mooted around sometime in April, around the start of April, I guffawed into my coffee, right? You know, and this is me who's out here telling everybody, like I literally made a video on how stupid everybody is to say that we couldn't get back to 200. But then I was advocating for 69,000, and you know, I was getting abuse on my Instagram page. People were going out of their way to find my other social media to tell me how stupid they thought I was. And I was saying 69,000, and then 420, and then somebody said 10 million. I was like, what? So let's quickly work that out, you know. And if that means that 10 million, you know, you could do the maths yourselves, but like off the top of my head, from what I can remember about GME, the 71 million shares, if that means that we're charging 10 million a share, and we own the company, then that would mean that we're holding $7 trillion. And in the total M1 and M2 and M3 money supply, there only is about 21 to 25 trillion dollars. So the idea that we'd be able to, some people would then say, and I suspected off the top of my head without really thinking about it, that then it might then be impossible, right? Like, how are we going to do that? Are we going to make everybody just hand over a third of everything they own to somehow, like, you know, where's the liquidity going to come from to cause that to be the case? But it doesn't have to be that way, right? It doesn't have to be that way. The truth of the matter is that so much of the world's money supply, the world's money supply is seen to be the most important factor in that equation. But since, as I touched on in my last stream, the way that we judge the value of things, sure, the way that we've got liquidity in order to pay for things is mostly determined by currencies and cash. But the amount of value in terms of assets that are in the world isn't exactly the same thing. It's valued differently. So there are ways around this perceived problem with total money supply. Plus there is the derivative value of things. And in the overall umbrella level of liquidity providers that create and maintain the framework for the financial system, the ability to swap things between them is bartering is on multiple billions of dollar assets is like not uncommon at all. So the prevention, you might think of the 10 million per share and the $7 trillion company. It's not actually it's not completely impossible. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say it's reasonable. When you think about it again, does that mean that we need to, sell, like, even if all of us sold all of our shares at 10 million, would that necessarily add up to the 70 million shares, like, or 700 million total? 7 trillion. So you don't have to all sell of our shares at that price. A lot of people will have different price targets. A lot of people will never get their price targets. Some people are never ever going to sell their shares because, like, what's better than a share in GME? Like, if you got your physical delivery of your share, you would keep that forever, right? It's worth loads now. It's already worth, like, easily what your price you're paying now. What is the price of a share of GME at the minute? Somewhere around $155. Check that out in a second. I mean, personally, I'd pay way more for an NFT that I'm not even as interested in. So, like, some people are just going to hold their shares forever. We're not all going to sell all of our shares at that price. So the $7 trillion isn't necessary. The liquidity in order to do it doesn't have to come from cash in our pockets. There's plenty of other ways of financing debts. And then, and that's not even accounting for the fact that the US government might have to come in and to support some of these liquidity providers, which will then give them the cash to meet their obligations. That they've got partners and competitors who both want to beat them but need them to be healthy and survive. There are parts of collective organisations which have collective responsibility to meet each other's debts, like the DTCC, and they themselves have an insurance policy in the trillions and trillions of dollars, and, like, these are just some contributing tributary avenues via which the not total figure of 7 trillion could actually be met. And so when people tell you that it's impossible and that it's not possible, you can take that with a grain of salt. If somebody's telling you that it's not possible and you're stupid for saying it, well, you know that they're probably a little bit ignorant, and the way that they're expressing themselves with such an arrogant idea of how they know the answer generally means that they're probably not worth being trusted. So that's my thoughts on that. And chats have gone on loads. I've probably lost more viewers. No, if not, it's gone up, and I really haven't done any TA, but I should get around it, and I will do in a minute. So the question of 1 million millionaires, is it possible? Yes, it is. And is that unrealistic? No, it isn't. I mean, you'll probably know that there's over 1 million, there's over 1,000 cities in China that have got over 1 million people in them each. And so when people talk about numbers, they tend to forget how big that they can get. So 1 million, is it unreasonable? No, it isn't. How many millionaires has Bitcoin made? I know a lot. So yeah, a heap of AMC. Would love to hear your quick thoughts. Will do. Think GME will settle between 450 and 650 after the squeeze sells back down again. Quite perhaps, maybe. I've not really done any thoughts on what about we'll do after the squeeze. I was thinking about a video for that, which would follow the same triptych editing that I've got at the minute, but we'll see. What platform do you use? In the background, that's TradingView. I've got a series on how you can use it yourself. If you're asking what platform do I use for trading, GME, interactive brokers. And I've also got some on Revolut, I've got some on IG Group, I've got some on Hargreaves and Lansdowne, and yeah, got it all over the frickin' place, mate. I also had some on Robinhood, which is still there, but whatever, screw them. Definitely screw that. I looked at Bandy and Rocky after watching GME, 69,420. Alright, just got here. Have you talked about foreign brokers having a hard time finding shares? No, I haven't talked about that. Was tipped off on this from Ape Andy. Hey, Ape Andy. I haven't talked about that. That's interesting, and that's very interesting, because I have heard of similar stories in the past about other shares and how they were difficult to acquire them for foreign brokers. Obviously, your license to trade in certain markets, if you're a foreign broker, means that you're subject to extra checks and a higher level of scrutiny, which means that they're a very good source if you're a domestic trader and you get information about these things from outside. It's very helpful information, because those call them actors, provide lots of information based on the context of their activities. So that's great news. I have not actually seen that. If Ape Andy's given out that information, that's fantastic. That must be in his recent videos, well, the last ones, which you should definitely go and watch, everybody. You should definitely go and watch. Not just because I've said that stuff about it, because I don't actually know what he said, but I bet it's interesting. I haven't talked about it, but we'll consider that one there. A trivial thought, that's a great username. If the peak is 10 million, the average share would sell for less than 100,000 a share, then they can afford that easily. Oh, the peak is 10 million. Average share would sell, yeah, if the peak is, say, the only share we get sold at that price is 10 million, then the average would be less. And I'm sure there will be people selling at 69,420 and so on. And people, I see people get like going silly, like, just briefly mention this. I've had a ridiculous amount of comments on my 10 million $120 to 10 million explained, like your 5 video. Recently I've had like 6 or 7 of the past 10 comments of people being saying, "You're an idiot, how can you sell at 69,420? Because I briefly mentioned in the video that that's a price that will go past, and it is a target for a lot of people. Like, the amount of people that are going to sell there that is incomparable to the amount of shares that these companies need to acquire. You know, so like, there is no turning on each other here, slagging somebody off because you're only looking for a life-changing amount of money rather than a generational changing amount of money. I mean, give a guy a break, right? Now, I'm not saying that from my own perspective, because I do have significantly higher price targets than most people. But if you see somebody out there who's going to sell it for slightly less than you are, remember what team they're on. Yes, most of course would never get the peak. True, dodges is, but if you have a plan and stick to it, you'll get the best that you're likely to get. Where is waking up now after 100? Wales waking up now after 152 Fibonacci level? Let's check that in a second. Good question. I should really get on it. Gary again. I assume you think the MOASS will last days, and have you put a price in your head that you will cash out all, or will you just keep some just in case it will continue to move more? I will keep some. We'll never ever cash out everything. My plan is, the way I trade is, we should arrange the Elliott wave analysis for next show. Okay, cool, that's Thursday. It's not going to be easy to me set up from a stream accommodate when we were live. True, possibly doing it at the same time possible. Reddit crew will say sell on the way down. How can you tell if it's past the peak and on the way down, not dipping though? Now that your D is done, GMC, what's his plan? Right, well, I'll tell you what I'll do, right? I'll go in, I'll do the TA for the 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Then I'll go and I'll show you how I would do the TA during the squeeze, which I'll be doing during the squeeze, and you can watch me doing it there, which I'll have whole heaps of other things on the go and a suite of different indicators that I use. I'll be using things off charts as well, and I'll be keeping in touch with people that themselves have direct access to stuff. So during the actual squeeze, definitely keep me in mind, but the tools I'll be using I'll show in a minute. I'll go on and show them now. Jamie, how do we know the hedges are still stuck with shorts? How do we know? Because if they'd had to cover, because Darren, if they'd had to cover the sticks, you know, we know they were still stuck with them here. We know that not only did the price the price fell from here when Robinhood said, look, you're not allowed to trade anymore because you're going to get us screwed because our friends don't like it. And then the price went down. The price didn't go down because people weren't buying it. The price went down because people were selling it, right? And those people that were selling it weren't us, because we've still all got it. So somebody else was. So even if there was many people covering here, that'll be the ones that couldn't sustain these prices, but many could, and they've still got them, and they added to their positions here. Anyway, why do we know they still got it? Because there was never the volume. Like, you think this is the volume candle, right? That's one of them. Here's the prices going down. This would be what? I mean, this would be when they're covering, but actually it was when we were buying. So where did the covering happen? If this is the covering in this one candle, a lot of buying there. I mean, you just add up these volume candles to the simplest analysis possible, right? Fisher price analysis, add that together, it's way bigger than that. There's nobody bought anything like the amount that were covered, that were, look at the shorts all the way through. I mean, that's just looking at that. You look at it on the order books and the actual exchanges, and I could total it all up, and I'm sure somebody on Reddit would take the time to do that sort of thing, that enjoys it, and you'd see like it's just impossible, and probably it's already been done, right? I mean, it's like that is just be, if you see like, if that volume candle I'd have been somewhere, you know, much. Look at the amount of sales that went in there, you know, and we're trying to say that this volume candle constitutes the shorts covering, because there's nearly the same amount of gain opened here. I mean, right? Yeah, sure, it doesn't buys and all sells aren't people necessarily going long and short. We know that, but anyway, so that wasn't the question that I was coming over here for. I was coming over here to do quick TA and then show you the indicators I'll be using to judge how the squeeze is happening. Yeah, well, the question, oh, I'll do the TA first and then I'll get around to the question. So we're on the 2-day, right? And what did we learn in the 2-day? Yeah, this formation is being maintained. We would expect a retest of this diagonally sloping resistance to become support, right? We would expect that. So here we are at that. So that's why I wasn't worried about the prices going down on the dip. It's because I anticipated it. And I would have been more anxious had prices just kept going up without any sort of a retest. What the retest does is confirm that this narrative that we've put on it was indeed true. And then, I mean, this is very basic technical analysis, but like, let's say that was a positive break up, then you might expect us to go up to our previous resistance around 275. You might expect that. Along the way, there'll be so many different areas where there'll be pauses for thought. And when I'm looking at the 2-day, that doesn't mean that we're going to pause on the 2-day. We may pause for shorter or a longer amount of time, but the time at which, the places at which you would expect those issues to become, so what did we get down to here? Test this Fibonacci level at 382. As Ape Andy was saying, do we test this Fibonacci around the 150 levels? Draw it on more accurately. So do we test this 382, bounced off it around 152? Does it then come back? Yeah, it might do. You got into 382, it doesn't really, you know, you could go on to the 236 and it's not a, it doesn't change the analysis from a technical perspective when you're looking at fibs. If we go to the 382 or the 236, it's much of a muchness. Once you've gone past the 0.5, it doesn't change any of your targets. So does it matter if it goes to here? No. Would I be able to get a really good, somebody else asked what would be a really good entry for today. So a really good entry for today, looking at this formation, and if you believe that the prices were going up and believed in the bullish thesis, anywhere in around here is a great entry. If you're looking for the best possible entry you're likely to get today, then it's probably around 146. And I say probably, I mean it's unlikely that today that the prices would go beyond that. If they did, you'd be looking at 132. And the absolute dream scenario in terms of if you were a bullish thesis and you believe the prices are going up, then you're not going to change your mind just because they go down to a good area to get in, right? You're not going to say, oh no, but they don't look great anymore because the prices have gone down since then. I mean, you believe in the price here, means that if it goes to here, fantastic buy, and you get in, if you get in at around 120, which is where I would put all the donations from the stream, I'd put them in around there, and the off chance that we got a wick down there, which is then recovered. That's probably like a good. That's only because I've already got a position, so like I don't need them. But then if I was actually like trying to get in, I'd probably scale my order from there, and then another one at 132, and then another one in at 145, and then like probably something where it just touched off at 153, or now here where we are. And that would be like a scaling into that sort of position. If you were looking for, and that's because you're not looking at a risk management perspective where you're managing your stop. If you are looking for that sort of thing, where is the long trade on this thing? Long trade. Come on, long position. Am I blind? I mean, this is long position. There you are. Right, so if you're looking to manage your risk, then the most obvious place to enter and the most obvious place to have a stop, right? Now, this isn't financial advice. You'd put your entry there and you'd put your stop there. Because since the pattern here has started, say this is your low, this is your high or low, we haven't subsequently had any definitive higher high or higher low since this point. So if we break beyond this point, then you might suggest that this overall formation is either in jeopardy or wasn't what we were actually looking, right? It might be part of some bigger formation, which would be more or less the same thing on a slightly bigger picture. So that would be where you put your stop loss in, because you could say that at that point your previous thinking had changed, and you're not going to rely on what you think to be flawed thinking. You know, you need it to be specific. This is maths and we're looking for risk management. So that should be your stop, which go there. Your entry price would be in around the retest of this previous move here, because we're in a period of volatility and flux. You might get that, and then you might get tested at around 130. There is like, just on the volatility of GME, and like, I haven't got the liquidity profile thing on the right here, but if I did have, you'd see that this is the area where most of the trades are happening, so you don't really want to slip out of that area for long. But if you're foolish, you'll think it's a good buy. I could look at the negative price, the case for the bears, and the negative thesis. If you want to look at both sides of the TA, we could do that. But first off, we're going to look at smaller time frames, and we're going to keep a reasonable neutral attitude about things. And then we're going to look at how the indicators I would use to monitor the squeeze. But at the moment, actually, let's look at this from a negative perspective. What have we got? Like, what can we say if we're trying to think against ourselves? I have to say, if you were bearish, you'd say that this is a macro high, right? Because of this line. Because of this line. Sorry. Because of this supply line. Which is funny, right? We call it a supply line because this is where people are like, oh, I don't want my shares anymore. But as we know, they don't actually own the shares in the first place. So when it comes to supply, it's like, oh, there's an area where I'll chuck loads of fake shares and create some idea of supply, when we all know that the demand has far outstripped supply to the point that there actually isn't any of them left anymore. But sure. Whatever. And so yes, that's the 2-day and the overall ascending symmetrical, the overall symmetrical triangle that we're in, which is a period of accumulation, which we know because we're all accumulating it. You know, also may a period of distribution, but it isn't, because the people who buy the shares hold them. You know, exceptionally now, this is apes. This wasn't apes. So these shares, you know, this is a period of consolidation, accumulation. All the people who own the shares are holding on to them, right? Distribution, if this was a bearish formation, if this was distribution, period of distribution, sorry, then this would be like everybody who had bought all these GME shares in the run up to this thing, then just dumping them on everybody all the time. But who bought all these shares on the way up to everything? No one. Nobody did. This is why it was trading so crap for so long. We all bought them here. So anyway, the narrative doesn't work for me, but right, fine. Moving on. That was a 2-day. We're going to drop down to something more realistic now so we can see actual price action today and get some idea of, wow, look at these mad skills this guy's got on TA. Right, so this is a 4-hour, this is a fresh look at the 4-hour from this video. We can see that the DMI suggests that the period of volatility ended. What happened? Boom, prices were here, prices went up, down, came back to the same price they were when this all ended. This is why this indicator is so valuable. When I say valuable, it's also free, and I'll put the link in it in the chat. RSI, I'm not looking at that right now, I'm getting distracted. Right, just looking at the price action in the 4-hour, we don't need so many levels of horizontal resistance that we drew on in the day and the daily and the 2-day, and we definitely don't need this Fibonacci here. Ugly. You ugly. Bye. And then we also don't need this stupid triangle on here. Right, this is our macro level of resistance below us at 142. What does that come from? Right, it comes from this area, this breakout, this retest, this retest. And we can see that since then, yep, then it's obvious this is higher lows. We can say that this is not yet a higher high, but also this is what we're looking at. You're trading between here and here. If we go above this level of resistance, go away line. If we go above this level of resistance around 179, right? I don't know what it is exactly. This line's not exactly accurate, but I think the price that we're talking about there is 179 based on from what I can remember. Can you just move lines? Not interested in moving, huh? There we go. Yeah, so in and around this level, if we can break that, then I'd expect a quick test up at around 220 odd level. But then we did identify a level at around 202. Maybe it'd be around here, yeah, 202. If we break 179, I expect a test of 202. And then maybe a retest of 179 before moving on. And with this level at 145, if we break it, I'd expect us to bounce again at 132. So this level in around here where you've got the 200 coming up, I mean that's an obvious buy, right? It's 4 hours, so it's a significant enough time frame for significant enough accounts to be trading. And this 200 is the most common entry for the vast majority of those accounts. Like you trade safe, and 4 hour 200 is for people who are just accumulating. It's a great zone, right? It leads to the least amount of time underwater. It's the strongest indicator you have of trend, and the narrative that we've been going through ourselves, which whether or not it's cognitive bias, like fits with the fact that this price action, which is either accumulation or distribution, has been happening during a period when we've all been talking about holding on to our shares. So that's always bearing in mind. And at a test of around 143 to 132 is your best price for an entry today. If you were a paper-handed weirdo, you'd probably take some of your risk off the table at around 179. The area we're looking to break is 200, but not because, well, great, you know, you get out of there and then you'll get in again here, you get out again there, you get in again here. That won't happen. You know, if you're trying to take that trading opportunity after this much of a period of tightening range, you know, sure, we're going out of it there, but we're out of it there, but this is the range. It's tightening, tightening, tightening. If you think you're going to be able to take that move any more times, you're kidding yourself, right? You're going to miss it, everything. You're looking for a sandwich and you'll miss the picnic. We'll be a way off. So like going through this isn't possible. What you would really use this for is averaging down positions and then taking risk off the table. And that's what people have been doing, which has led to these minor pullbacks, because it's been in line with the hedge fund's desires at that point. So it looks like, well, you know, great, got the price down, but actually, you know, the volume here isn't saying anything. You know, there has been no trend change demarked by the volume since this, which was the price is changing as in it's going up. So, you know, plus like, and this is us talking from our perspective, but if you were to remove this whole squeeze idea and the mother of all short squeezes from the narrative, and to look at Ryan Cohen running this company called Gamestop, which is moving in esports and logistics and fulfillment, then you'd say, well, wow, that looks like a company that can really take on Amazon, and they've got experience of digital games and things like that. It's one of a huge growing market. This esports thing, that's a huge growing market. They've got brand nostalgia, they've got some great company. You'd think like, wow, this is a good long-term hold, right? You'd add it to your IRA, you'd think like, wow, great, I'll hold on to this until 70, 65, 70 or something. Then I'll cash out when it's, you know, delivering everything from pop socks to just trading snacks to your door next to like Amazon Prime style delivery, right? This is going to be, you know, there's only going to be so very many companies with that type of logistics across the world, and the GameStop are ideally set up for it, so it looks like a good buy. So if you're thinking about it from a growth perspective, and they're a tech company in the tech sector, then you'd be looking at this thinking, well, you know, in 10 years time it could be $1,000, right? Normally, anyway, got nothing to do anything else. Why am I talking about that off the 4 hour chart? I don't know. Anyway, I get carried away. So really need a cup of tea actually. So I'll go back to the chat in a second and see what everybody's been saying, because we've done a little bit. But then, so this is a 4 hour, I've only really looked at that. I did talk about this idea of a cross, didn't I? Yeah, there's a negative cross came in here. That was here, the 21 cross below the 50 at this point. We've come back to retest that area. These are the EMAs. The EMA, it's like, this is a simple moving average and this is an exponential, and this cross itself isn't an important one. It doesn't mean anything. But let's say that that people were trading it, then the cross happened, the price retested the 21, then it retested the 50, it broke beyond the 50, and then the price action fell below it. You would say that this doesn't really mean anything. Nobody trades this double EMA cross. Nobody that I know anyway. Never heard of it. So it doesn't really tell us much, other than to say, as the indicators do, right? This is an indicator of more recent price action. This is an indicator of slightly longer, more time periods. And then you would say that more recent price action has been in and around the same price as the more longer term price action, which is what you would expect to see when you're coming to the end of a period of consolidation, right? That the more recent price action matches the longer term price action. And the more of these confluences you get, the better. So if we also had the 200 up here, it would be great. But, you know, I mean, I only use 3 EMAs on here to keep it simple. And because for the trading in and outs that I take, you only need 3. And any more in that sense is too much. But if you're looking at it from just trying to get a picture of what's going on, no, let's turn on the other EMAs and see what else is happening at these prices. So you see, we've also got this as acting as support. 200's exponential, and the 100 exponential are cyan and purple. And you can see that these are coming up. That's positive, that they're all coming up, pointing upwards. This is a positive splay. We can see that we're being supported by this 200 exponential. We're above the 50. You know, playing between the 200 and the 50, when the 50 is above the 200, is also indicative of this type of price action. So this period of time, you can expect to see tight prices between 166 and 155. You know, we've just been below there, but we bounced straight back above it. So, I mean, I'm going to stick to that, you know, and you can use those things to judge whether I know what I'm talking about. This is going to be a tight area for price action. Even though if you were to draw this on, you might say, oh look, we've got plenty of room here. It's actually true that some decisions will be made. This line is important, but this line isn't so much. It's more actually at this sort of level. I mean, we're on a tiny time frame here, really. But this is the important area for now. And we'll see how things go in those prices over the next, well, what time's that up until? That's up until the end of next week. So yes, somebody asked about the 14th, and it jumps out at me looking at this. So that's the 4 hour. We're not really learning much other than, we've not really done all that much other than look at the EMAs and then the horizontal support and resistance. We could spend more time if we put on the MACD and other things, but I've spent a lot of time on that recently, so we'll save that for Thursday's stream. And what will we do here? Got the volume, got the EMAs, and I was going to look at the weekly and do that stuff there. I'll do that afterwards. We'll drop down quickly. We'll skip the 1 hour because we've done the daily and the 4 hour, and you know, the 1 hour is like great, but it only tells you about short, tiny term frames, and the more crack addicts among us will like get the same satisfaction from the 15 minutes. So these are the drawings that we've put on. Rather a modest amount of drawings compared to what I might normally do if I was looking at this on my own, because I'm aware that the screen is smaller for yourselves than it is even for me here, and the details can be hard to follow. So there's a really quite a light touch on the drawings, and then we zoom into these smaller time frames and we can see that they still apply, right? Like here's this line, quite accurate, we drew it. This one reasonably accurate. These horizontal supports and resistance seem to tell us a story, and the ebb and flow of the prices becomes a little bit, while it's more, oops, there goes my screen, come back. Wonder if this is still working. Yeah, excellent. Right, quickly quickly check. People are still here. 154 viewers. Great. Did they all do the classics when I hear some fib time zones? Haha, it's Castillo. How you doing, Castillo? I didn't do the classics. No. And most people don't know about my fib time zones. Well, I mean, I say most people. It was my popular video. It had 3,700 views or whatever until such times as started covering GME when I only had 47 subscribers. People were really stingy with the subscribe button back then. Right, so I've stood on my HDMI cable earlier and twisted all the pins, so it now likes to go off and on and trick me. What do you think of the VIX getting to 20? Yes, a lot of different stuff to talk about really. I was thinking about it. Man, you seem really sound, not sure why, but it's a lot of fun watching. Great, thanks Johnny Chew. Gotta go, see you later KK. I'll get back to the rest of the chat later. I'm not really covering it properly here. I will get back to it. I don't even know why I ended up on this stream. Oh yeah, it was to see, I could still see that you guys were looking at the same thing as me. Right, yeah, so a lot of people will be scared by this volatile moves in the price action here. I mean, from a screensaver perspective, I kind of prefer these time frames, but from a trading perspective, not at all. Anyway, so there's our gap from the other day. So these are all coming in for a cross. Prices will come back up to test these crosses. 168, that's also where you could say that there was a breakdown from this area. So you'd say that you'd expect some sort of retesting around there. I mean, these will move down a little bit. Let's call it actually that there. Yeah, 165. I expect to see prices at around 165 again today, within today. I haven't looked at the RSI much, and what I'm seeing there looks good to me. So you see this, right? This is RSI over here, this low over here area, this chunk of it is this chunk of it, and this chunk of it is this chunk of it, right? And this was our low, and this was our low, and this is our new low in RSI because it's lower than here. Is it? Nope, just about, more or less. Let's call that about even. And price, like I was going to say, there is maybe perhaps a touch of bearishness hinted here, but I mean, not really. This has recovered the EMA. It's also pulling itself out of the bearish control zone. If we can get out of this bearish control zone on RSI on the short-term time frames, then we could expect to see a reasonably quick test up, probably beyond our 165 and maybe all the way up to 180. And that's your short-term time frames for today. Good entry would be around, like the absolute best entry that you could possibly expect to get in the short term, on a short to medium, would be around 120. And if you got in anywhere around 140 to 120, you'd probably be quite happy with that. Well, it's not financial advice, that's just a technical analysis. On the upside, if you were selling at 165 or that sort of an area, then, you know, fair play to you, right? You know, each to their own, but even on a short-term time frames, you would be looking at actually for some success around the 180 level, and if that trade that I drew on earlier is anything to go by, then you get a reasonable risk-reward draw on that with a reasonable stop loss, and some people might take that trade. That's not even using any of the trading strategies or the indicators, it was just sort of, you know, top of your head sort of stuff. So there's the 15 minutes, there's that, and now I'm going to go back to the chat briefly, and then I'm going to cover the indicators that I'll be using during the squeeze, and showing you how I'll measure the strength of trend and the things I use to say that the trend has changed. Okay, so that's the things I'll be looking at shortly, so if you want to, stay tuned for that. I'm going to go back over here and see what's happened. I'm also going to look and see at, if I can check the right thing here. Am I checking the right thing? This is my stream. It tells me, yes, Brenda gave me $35. Thank you very much, Brenda. That is going to be put towards some DME. Hanifax super chatted $5. Look at that. So that's 40, and Cachito Valador also. Hello? Hello. I think the stream is, the mic is back on now, but I've absolutely no idea. Hello, hello. If I'm here, I'm here. Oh goodness, I've been talking for a long time, and I was in for a surprise there. I was very surprised to see that I was making no sound. Yes, it has. It has. Good. Right, well, I'm back. So I wonder if there was any gems missed there. I've no idea when it broke, how much I covered, what I missed. But I'm here. Look at the chat laughing. It's so funny. Thank you so much to everybody who kept the faith and stuck around. You know, there are real ones among yous that really stuck around. Thank you so much. Yes, you need to check the chat more often. Damn right I do. I was reading the wrong stuff. What an idiot I am. Thank you so much for everybody for still being here. It feels incredible. So, where was I and what was I supposed to be doing? I mean, tell me where you last scared me and what's what you'd like to hear, right? Instead of me talking crap, because I was probably off on one. It broke 1 second after I said Dodge is doing really good. Shit. Last said you were going to check Dodge. I'm not sure if I said that. Should we wait to buy GME? Should we? Or you could. Should and could. Let's stick it to could. You could wait. You could wait to buy it. And the risk is you might never get it. If you did get it, you'd get it cheaper than it is at the minute. And you might save yourself 20 to 30 quid. So that's the question you want to ask yourself. Do you want to save 20 to 30 quid? Which you could probably do, right? By putting in an order cheaper than the prices are right now. To sell this thing, which you're probably going to sell at multiple tens of thousands of dollars above, right? So does that 20 or 30 quid that you're looking to save, do you think that's actually going to make a difference to your life in any meaningful way compared to the price at which you would be prepared to sell once you'd acquired it? So this question for you. If you're going to sell it at, say, let's say, right, you're going to take a conservative figure, you believe in the squeeze, and you'll take a conservative figure of 69,420, does it really matter if you pay 180 or 130 bucks for this thing? Or 120 instead of 160? You know, the question that we all have to ask ourselves, right? If you were a day trader, which I am, of most things, at most times, then yeah, that would be I'd say, well, I don't care about the 69 because I'm only actually looking for it to go to 202, at which point I'll take profits, or I'm only looking for it to stand like 7% above the VWAP and hit the top of these EMAs, or I'm only looking for it to, you know, whatever your trading strategy is, right? Then yeah, you'd be like, nah, I'd rather get in at 120, 130, 140 and scale out again. But if you're looking to sell it at 69,420, it's more a question of when does that money arrive in my bank account than when is it prices going to get down to a level I can afford, right? These are the sort of things that, and that's not financial advice, genuinely isn't, you know, depending on how you're trading this thing, either side of that suits you, it's fine. So that's my thoughts on that. And also, you know, I don't want to be unethical or antithetical and give away and compromise on how I want to live my own life, which is essentially not telling everybody how to trade exactly. It's more giving advice on how I would trade, which happens to work quite a lot, and at the same time explaining the factors I take into consideration to make my decisions, so that you can all take the same factors into consideration and make your own decisions. Will GME go down again soon? Maybe a tiny little bit. Last you said you're going to get Dodge, then dead. I held and then dead. Should we wait to buy GME? We hold when you're going to check Dodge. When am I going to check Dodge? Is this the Dodge stream now? Should I wait to buy GME? Robinhood lifting crypto sales again, limiting. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're buying your Robinhood on crypto, then you're really not making the most of your you're not really making the most of your skills. Like you should be trading your crypto somewhere else. Don't use like these fintech apps like Robinhood and Revolut and so on. Don't believe their democratization of trading lies, right? That's not what is. Financial instruments do that, not brokers. That's a lie. It's a narrative. They're pulling over everybody's eyes. They're a wolf dressed in sheep's clothing. Don't believe Revolut. Don't believe Robinhood. Don't. And that's not defamatory in any way. I'm saying put your own self responsible and don't believe on the gimmicks of certain companies. And but yeah, they're both perfectly good for buying GME at one stage. Screw them. Did it just bounce off support? Yes, it did. You're right. It did. It looked like it there too on the screen in the background. Then you were going to tell us if the indicators are using the way down. Yes, that's what I was going to do. I was going to tell you the indicators are using the way down. Not necessarily on the way down, as how I would express it, but and Ape Andy said on the King Peak yesterday, and that reminded me of various different expressions people can use for when prices are cresting. And so that would be how I'd talk about it. Like the period at which I think it is sensible to take profits. Not necessarily the way down, right? I expect there'll be... Because anyway, whatever, yeah, you're right. It's a good question, Griffin. That's exactly what I'll do. Thanks for the answer. I've given an answer to gain something. Excellent. It's always great to know, right? If you could tell me when I've answered something, that would be so good, because I don't know... Immediately after I start talking, I forget what it is I'm trying to answer, and so I've no idea when to finish. So if you could say in chat, thanks for the answer, I'll note to move on. I know how much faith you have in it reaching 69,420. It fills me with a lot of confidence. Well, that's great, you know. I mean, that's how we get confidence. Part of it, isn't it, from other people's convictions and stuff. So I'm glad that that's helpful in some respects. But you don't even need to put that as your target, right? Wherever your target is, maybe 10 million, it might be 10 grand, whatever. I'm glad that I am of some help. Holy shit, I forgot I was watching the stream. The pop-in gave me a jump. Haha, Jim! Sorry. Pardon me, Jim. I didn't mean to disappear like that. Nor jump in so abruptly. Do we have to go all the way down to the end of this triangle before bouncing up or down? And does the triangles work with the manipulated stocks? Well, so there's like a distinction I would make between... It's the most recent thing that I can see in chat, which is still on, and I've caught up with everything everyone said, so I'll answer that question on the charts. Do we have to go all the way to the end of the triangle? Are you talking about this triangle here? I mean, let's go off a time frame so you can see. We have to go all the way to the bottom of the triangle. I mean, the bottom of this current part of the triangle where it happens to be in this rising diagonal line. Do we have to buy in? Well, I mean, you don't have to do anything, right? I mean, and there's no guarantee that this triangle is going to persist, and nor does it mean that the measured move off it is going to be reached, nor that it will be up or down. So there's nothing guaranteed about these things, and TA is not determinant. It's more of a investigative technique, so which provides us with statistical likelihoods and allows us to make hypotheses we can test based on a level of probability we can trade. So does it need to? No. I mean, if I got my Bollinger Bands on there, I was thinking I would put them on, but I'll do them in a second because it'll also be helpful for what we're looking at later. Do you have to wait till it goes? You don't have to do any of those things, mate. You get in it around, like I was saying, like if you're really lucky, you'll get an order at 120, 130 and 140, and then 150. It just so happens to be in around those levels. I was going to answer the question, but now I can't remember what it said. Oh God. Have the new regulations by the SEC already come into effect? If not, when that happening, what do you think how long it will take to be able to get more insight into hedge funds short positions? I don't know if you intentionally skipped my question. If yes, just skip it again. Oh, I didn't realise you'd asked that, Julian. Sorry, I skipped so many messages at the minute. Do I think the SEC regulations have come into force yet? No, I actually think one of them is coming into force tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow, right? It's the 5th that I had predicted in a previous recording on a static video that it would be in between the 20th of 4th and the 5th of the 5th, or the 6th of the 5th, was it? In the next 2 days, I expect. Will it give us more insight into them? I suspect that they're very good at obfuscating their positions again still, especially after this. They'll be working overtime to make sure that's possible, but it will give us tighter information in and around the failure to deliver deadline. So we'd look at from this implementation of the new SEC regulations. Is it even the SEC? Is it well, specifically these new DTC rules and the NSCC rule? We'll be looking for between those implementation deadlines, so in and around today, tomorrow and the next day, and the next option expiry, so looking around the 14th, 15th, 16th. And then you add on T2 and then add on the failure to deliver deadline. You'd expect by this time and the 21st you would have a much clearer picture on the market as a whole, if not individual specific short positions. So that's I think some sort of an answer to Julian. I'm not sure. The cross, okay, looking at the past to judge the future movement, etc. Looking to the past to judge the future movements, etc. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Yes, BH, the past is prologue. Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo, amigos. Que bien. Pues, I think that's the funniest thing I've read on stream. Cinco de Mayo. Actually, is today the... What, is it just... so... Cinco de Mayo. That's so funny. So that's so funny, guys. Steve there with Cinco de Mayo. It's totally distracted me thinking of loads of Spanish jokes. I love that. I love that comment. As far as I know, there's no guarantees the rules to change this week. Yeah, certainly is no guarantees, but that's what I thought about one of them. I think one of them may have changed by the 6th, but I don't know. You're right. Maybe you're right. Do you think or predict GME will go down much more? Isn't it up to the SEC when to implement? Right, cool, yeah. I think they have implementation windows. Like some of these rules, right, it is up to the SEC when to initiate, I think, isn't it? They've been sat on them for a long time. None of these rules are new. None of them have been written in the last few years even, I don't think. As far as I understand it, they've been sitting waiting in an inbox for a long time. And so the question isn't really like what specific day and that sort of thing, but more along the lines of why have they already started the cycle kicking it off? So I assume the introduction of these new rules, if and when, will play an important, if not major, part in the MOASS process. Right, quite possibly, but you know, it's all about supply and demand, right? As long as we... oops, why is that moving around? Yeah, they will play a major part in it. Are they the be-all and end-all? No. Do they help? Yes. They get used as hype, right, among certain aspects of the community to boost attention in their content. So I'm not particularly trying to do that myself, and I hope I don't come across that way, while at the same time giving them the full weight of consideration that they deserve. And it is true that they are going to have some effect, so that's how I look at it like that. How long have I been streaming for? Probably a significant amount of time. And I think that people are reasonably happy with the things I've covered, right? Because I'm getting questions that I've had seen earlier are coming up again, and I've not even read all of the chats. So I suspect that people are generally satisfied with this stream, and I think that we've done a good job. For the second real actual live stream, I think so far it's gone quite good. I am still going to do the indicators I'll use and the things I'll look at for the turnaround, but I was just finished reading off the end of the chat before I get into that chunk of content. Still expecting to move by the end of this week. Oh yeah, I was thinking the volatility would pick up this week, wasn't that? I think that's what I said. I think I communicated that last week, that when do I expect the squeeze to happen? Not immediately, but by July, and that in advance of that I expected volatility to pick up, and that to be around the middle of this week, which I suppose is tomorrow, and then subsequently Thursday and Friday. And do I expect things to pick up? Possibly. So somebody asked for a quick recap of the TA, right? So we'll go down and do a quick recap of the TA. Shit, I've deleted all the drawings as we went on, so right. We're in a period of consolidation. On the 2-day time frame, we can see that this is a healthy period of consolidation at a reasonably high level in relation to the upthrust and the demarcation between price action here and price action here. We're accumulating at a high level above resistance. We've got a positive formation / neutral. We're above the 21, more or less. I've got a positive cross here. There's a positive splay across our EMAs. We have a period of consolidation as represented again on the RSI with the bears have played their hand. We'll see if it's effective. This was their push here. So like the people going short will have gone short here. They're crazy if they're doing it here. I could imagine that we'll see them running out of steam. If what we'd want to see is the RSI maintain these sort of levels above the center line, and then if price drops below these sort of previous supports, while this RSI is giving up the ghost, then that would be a fake out drop from this formation, and you could see a very violent return up. But that's a gamble. And if prices dropped out of this formation, I'd actually want to look at them for a second and see what was going on. If there was bullish divergence on the RSI at that stage, I'd be very excited. That's a 2-day time frame, so that's a significant indication of trend. On the daily, recap positive display, we can see that our EMA crossed the negative, crossed there on the RSI from the EMA, but we're covering this, hopefully holding this trend line. No actual guarantee of that, could already have broken, easily already have broken. Still in a period of flux within the DMI. There's your move that we put in earlier. Risk reward ratio of 6 to 1, more or less 6 to 1, with your stop and your take profits, which you wouldn't be taking probably. And this is in a tightening range. This period of consolidation, slightly positive indication is that on this most recent period of price action, we've put in a higher high and a higher low, and potentially a higher low. That's the question we're asking ourselves on the daily. Is this a higher low? I.e., do we close above 147? And then down to the 4 hour, everything's still the same, no difference, even to the point of saying that we've got slightly higher lows, not yet put in a definitively higher high. So that's what we're looking to test next. If that comes off the back of breaking out of this formation on the 4 hour, which I've extended from previously, it was tighter, you could say that that it's likely we would, if we break this diagonally sloping supply line, it's also likely we would not only test at 188, but we'd go on up to 202 and test this level of resistance, at which point you may expect a pullback, because this hasn't marked a definitive change from price action at that stage. It would have to be scrolling, it would have to be making significantly moves higher than up above the 279 number that we were predicting last week. We'd have to make it above there to have a significantly different picture for that of price action than we've been in since the last number of weeks. It's 4 hours, so yes, as you can see, obviously I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about that because I don't expect that to be anything other than a good buy. And then down to the 1 hour, there's no point looking at that. 15 minutes that we're talking about for the rest of the day, we could expect to see that there'll be some potentially drops. This is what we've been anticipating from what we've looked at. Our TA today is expecting to anticipate some drops and for them to be buys. If you look at it on the 15 minutes, you can see this is what we were staring at while I was looking in the chat. This sort of area has already acted as a degree of support. It's diagonally sloping, so it's not as robust as a horizontal level. This particular horizontal level is also, this was an inverted head and shoulders, and that was the breakout from it. It's also be testing around there, which has got reasonable confluence in the past. It's also this larger formation. So yeah, if we get down here, I'd expect to see a bounce. Bet you that anticipating that would mean that people like ourselves are buying it, and I know that I'll be getting a third of it contributed, but you guys are getting a little bit in and around there if we get there, but I can't necessarily guarantee the prices will get down there. And I can't guarantee anything because that's not this kind of show. So we've looked at that, and now we're going to look at the indicators I'll be using to measure strength of trend during the squeeze, and then we'll look at, say, what will we look at? We'll look at two of them, and we'll talk about two aspects to it. These are good, and I'll be using these, the RockyOutcrop RSI and EMA and the RockyOutcrop DMI. I suspect RockyOutcrop's not actually... Where is he? I'm going all across the wrong things. That's not where he is. Where is he? He is in... Is he in the chat? Are you there, Rocky? If you are, do I have to sign into chat in order to actually contribute to the chat here? For goodness sakes. Maybe I'll put anything... Maybe I'll put something in there. Cinco de Mayo. Maybe I'll put something in the chat later and share Rocky's outcrop links there. If he's there, I'd be able to put... He'd be able to type them in. Do you think predict GME will go down much more? So assume introduction of these new rules. Right, okay, quick recap, done that. So what is the green box in the background? The green box, what was I looking at? Oh yeah, green boxes in the background. What was the green box? Oh, this green box here. this was a suggested long position. I was putting on a trade for people, which is like sort of like it's the same trade I've been saying to people for weeks. Not putting on a trade or suggesting a trade for anyone. I was saying this is the sort of trade that shows the most likelihood of working out, along with the best profit to risk ratio from either longs or shorts over the past couple of weeks. And if you'd taken it, that's proved to be true on at least 3 occasions. It's still true today to say that this is the suggested long position. There's your entry in and around here if you're lucky enough to get it. You've got it once, you've got it twice. Getting it again would be nifty. And then anywhere you want to sell, if you were to sell, I mean, whatever, it's dead obvious, isn't it? It's where the green box finishes, but the truth is you want to hold on to it for longer. 69,420 plus 10 million plus. This is what we're looking at. The reason this box is here is because a lot of people, if you look back through the chat, will say, like, what's the price to get in at today? What's the best price, etc., etc. And like I could tell them, as I try to, that any price is good depending on where you're looking to get out. If it's really, really significantly high up, then what does a couple of dollars make difference here? It doesn't. But at the same time, I don't want them to hate on me for a couple of weeks should they be entering and be underwater. You know, I mean, let's be sensible. I've been telling people not to enter here, not to enter here, not to enter here, and the whole time I've been saying that the times to enter are here, here, and here. So like, this is us perhaps in a period of a little bit of a retracement, and people will be getting worried about where to get in. As has commonly been the case in the past, I'll have said, look guys, this might happen, and if it does, here's where we get in, don't worry. And at the time, people have been like, oh shit, it's in buggers and piss and fuck, I can see that the position is screwed. I'm absolutely getting wrecked here, I don't know what to do, and then they worry. And then it turns out, like, when prices get down here, then we've been bought back up, and then we're back up here, and then that's when some people are like, nah, God, this trade spotting guy really knows what he's talking about, by the way, you gotta check him out. And other people are like, God damn it, I got out at the bottom of a move when I could have just held it and, you know, made 20, 30, 40, 50% more. Had I desperately had to sell it, which you wouldn't have, you would have held on to it, right? Because you still are of the belief that this whole thing's going to happen. And I've got those messages from people that said, if only wish I just listened. And then I've got other people saying, bro, it's going down and I got in and blah. And, right, like, which is all fine. Like, I empathise with everybody. You know, I've been there myself before, both sides of that. But just so that people get the best possible entry, this is why this green box is on in the background. There also was other green boxes and blue boxes near the start of the stream, which you might have been talking about, which were like liquidity zones, which I got rid of. They were from the last GME for May, which I was drawing in and saying, again, they were similar. Like, this is a great place to get enter. It's where a lot of the long trades that were currently open have opened, and here's where a lot of the short trades that are currently open have opened. And these were the 2 liquidity zones, and above that there was like a box in and around, a green box in and around our previous highs, which was to say, like, if we get open above in these zones, you know, it doesn't immediately get knocked out of them, which I would expect it to on the first approach. So if it's the second or third one it goes through, or even the first one if it did, which would be incredibly bullish, might happen, that would signify that the mother of all short squeezes had already started. But from my opinion, I expect us to get up in and around here, break our previous all-time high closes. That would define it as the narrative has actually changed, you know, like, because a lot of people, you know, it's like a bit of a closed community. We're all talking to ourselves. It's not an echo chamber because our progress and information is moving on. We're learning a lot from each other, but it would be true to say that a lot of the world isn't aware of how relevant the squeeze is and how it's still totally on. They need, you know, the news, BBC News, CNBC, they need to see it on, like, the popular boring news channels that tell them, like, oh, this is still happening. Hello, folks, you tune in for this. And at that stage, they'll realise, like, stuff's still on again. And I don't expect them all to buy. I expect a lot of people that are paper-handed weirdos to end up selling, but that doesn't mean that it'll be anywhere enough to cover the incredible amount of people that need to go short. And I think even getting the price up here won't be short positions covering. Like, I don't think this was short positions covering. I don't think back on or like here or here was short positions covering. When it gets up again, I don't think it'll be short positions covering that brings us there. I think it'll be people like ourselves buying and everybody else giving up the ghost on selling, right? And eventually we got up here, some people will sell. It won't be anywhere near enough to cover the short positions. Those people who do sell, everyone having broken this area here, the world and their granny are going to want to buy it if we ever get back in and around this sort of price, because it's obvious that this whole thing, like, oh, the squeeze is over. That's not true. It's not true as soon as we go beyond here. Any sort of a close up there, if you get back in here, right, there's going to be, there's going to be a lot of market participants interested in this. And that goes from small retail traders right the way up. So, why am I talking about that? Is that all from a question about a green box? I think it was. So we're going to look at the indicators I would use to measure the mother of all short squeeze. And say I get hit by a bus tomorrow, at least you'll have these two indicators to use on your charts. So let's get rid of some of these. Let's turn off that and that and that and that. So we've only got the 50 and the 200 on here. And make them nicer colours, because why not? We can afford to be good to ourselves. Slightly more easier to see. Anyway, we'll get rid of this because it's not relevant. We're talking about what's happened during the squeeze. We're going to get rid of all of these too. I'll just delete all these actually. Delete all drawings, is that what you do? Yes. I suspect my mic is having issues here because I hear it clicking, but bear with me. And it says it's on, and the chart says, right, okay, so it says it's happening. Right, so I deleted those. I love these, right? This RockyOutcrop RSI EMA and the RockyOutcrop DMI. They're amazing. They are literally, they are the two best. I rely on these. I rely on these indicators. So even though I've not had the MACD on all episode, I wasn't prepared to turn these off, right? I rely on them. So there's some sign of how good I think they are. And I've been trading for years and years and years. If I thought there was a paid indicator that I relied on, I'd have it here, right? But I don't have this one, and I have this one. And you can check them out, RockyOutcrop's indicators. And I'm moving them from the chart now, so we've got bigger price action. I don't think I need the drawings panel, so I'm turning that off. You can do that up here. And down here, we're going to use the Bollinger Bands, right? Did that actually go on there? It should have. Clicked it, that's for sure. Go on the chart. What do you mean no more? I've only just put them on. You wido. TradingView needs to get... Right. Sort yourself out, TradingView, you cheeky monkey. Right, so we've got a Bollinger Band on, right? I don't like this design. Why is this design so shit, man? Fuck. And then that. And then the center line, we'll have that as that. No, we won't. We'll have it as that. And then we'll make it like that. Okay. Right, so here's our Bollinger Bands and our two EMAs, the 200 and the 50 simple moving averages, and the Bollinger Bands, right? I'm going to use, actually, fuck it, we'll also give us the, we'll also stick on the... Parabolic SAR. Like, some people will go like, oh look, there's Parabolic SAR. I could stick on the Parabolic SAR strategy because that'll tell me what to do, right? And you could do that and it'll tell you, most of the time, it'll tell you what you would have been able to see yourself, obviously here. And sometimes it'll tell you something wrong and cost you a lot of money. Why are you saying that, mate? Two indicators. Oh, it's this volume thing as well, isn't it? I'll get rid of that. Also, the volume will be interesting though. We'll just get rid of the EMAs actually. If we're going to be sticking it on the... Let's just get rid of that. Why have I got so many... Oh, it's because I've got loads of Bollinger Bands on. That's why it's telling me I've hit my limit. Okay, so I've not hit the limit. What is that? That's the Donchian channels. We don't need them on because we're not going to include them in this particular episode. We will include them in the next one though. Right, so we've put the Bollinger Bands back on. And we'll put on the Parabolic SAR. Right, great. So, oh, and you can't see anything because they've changed the design again. This is like, you're actually screwing with me. People are going to say, see Jamie, this isn't a very professional stream. You could have done a slightly better job here, 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 and everywhere. So that's that on this Right. So the parabolic, what is it? Parabolic stop and resistance indicator from Jim J. Wilder, I think his name is. RockyOutcrop, big fan of his, and tell you all about his biography and more about the guy. So this parabolic stop and reversal indicator, when prices go beyond this, these dots, they mark where the trend has reversed, right? You get a lot of false signals with this indicator, so you have to use it in combination with other indicators, which is one of the reasons why I had the moving averages on before, and they're very good at qualifying whether or not you take moves based on the parabolic SAR. Now, I won't be using it during the squeeze to determine when I'm taking a move, but I will show you, generally speaking, how it works. Look at the daily time frame. So you can see that when candles open, a candle opens and closes above these dots, these stop points, then you can see that we have broken that part of the trend and they have reversed, right? So prices here, right, they're being caught by these dots, right? You see this, oh look, we're in a downtrend because it's open and closed a candle below a dot, opened, closed one below the dot, so we're in a downtrend. Then look, opened, closed the one above the dot, and we're in this uptrend. Opened, closed above the dots, and nope, that one didn't, so we're still in an uptrend, you see, until such times as here touch this dot area. Well, that wouldn't have been put in until such times as the prices then got to here, but as you can see, first to the dot, it's only after the dot breaks, here we go again, last dot, and it's broken down below it. And you can see that when the prices are trending, on the opposite side of the trend you have these dots. So where prices are trending down, you've got dots above. When prices are trending up, they've got dots below. When the price action candles manage to make it to close and then open and close beyond the other side of the trend, i.e. beyond these dots, then you can say, oh look, that particular trend is finished. The way we use it on slightly lower time frames helps us identify when and where to get in and out of moves. So as you can see, we'll start slightly further back. We'll start here actually, because this is a much better indicator of what's happened. So you can see that this is how it was using it, right? We're trending up, the prices, the parabolic SR was below us. We have our Bollinger Bands. We were trending at the top line of the Bollinger Band. We started to open but not close, open and close candles beyond the top level of the Bollinger Band. Then we did here. We opened and closed outside the Bollinger Band, the top level. And we can confirm at this point that two things are likely to happen. One, we're likely to come back inside the Bollinger Band again, and then prices are likely to explode. The strength and duration of that explosion aren't necessarily quantifiable at the time, but you can say this is when it was signified it was going to happen. We'll go on and look for another element of that shortly. You can also say that this parabolic SAR was defining the trend the whole way up. You could see this distance between these, the angle of this increase was significant at the same time as this candle confirmed to close outside the top Bollinger Band. We had the retest inside it, we had the explosion, and then at this point, huge wick, and we closed this candle just inside the top Bollinger Band, which had been set in from these moves here. So this is why a lot of people, myself included, were able to call this level and say this is probably a good top in the short term on this move here, which it was, which we then subsequently came up here again. But it was a very dangerous move. Anyway, point being, once we closed within the Bollinger Band, we never then had a subsequent close, open and close outside of it, and essentially the uptrend on this particular thrust had finished, right? So although the prices then went up again, right, a significant amount, 150 odd bucks, good 50 odd % increase, you can see that that strength of this move had essentially ended, because the Bollinger Band outside, open and close, and then the Bollinger Band inside again. Now, that doesn't necessarily predict that this sort of a move down is going to happen, but it does suggest that the next move up will probably be, at very least, worthy of checking for divergences on your RSI. So this is the sort of thing we're looking for. Also, we can see that, well, we put in at this point, we put in this parabolic SAR indicator flip to the top, because we were in downtrend, closed within the Bollinger Band, and this started to point downwards. And so if something similar should happen on the mother of all short squeezes, we'll be looking for that to confirm across the timelines. We'll probably look for it nothing less than the 4 hours useful for either of these two indicators. So the 4 hour, we'll be looking for it to do something along these lines. But as I was saying before, King Ape Andy talked about the King Peak, and during the mother of all short squeezes there will be lots of flux. So this is where it's relevant to talk about whether I'll be selling my position on the way up or the way down. And so as we can see from this indicator, it tells us certain things, right? This, I mean, if we were to go back in time, which actually we can do, let's show you, replay from here. Now our parabolic SAR is on. As you can see, we've made it up near the top here, but the indicator hasn't yet flipped to the top. So what happens, right? We'll push play. You can see that we put them in there. On this pullback of this candle, we pulled back and we closed below these previous candles, right? Which causes this indicator, having put in now a lower close, causes it to start marking above rather than below. And as soon as it does that, we can say, right, well, something's changed on this move. Something has changed. So a candle close causes this, and there's a degree of statistical likelihood that then the chances are the prices aren't going to make it above this level or this trending level from now on, since this candle close was below the previous ones. We're going to say that the statistical likelihood is that will not close above this mark. And the prices, right, like this is what we try to do. Technical analysis is a scientific endeavor. We try to test hypotheses, and we go on probabilities, and then we test the statistical reliability of those outcomes. And this indicator is fantastic. It's built exactly along those lines, right? No pun intended. And that is that the statistical likelihood is that this is our trending top line. Once we break this, then we've changed that trend, and the statistical likelihood then fails, so we'll be going up again. And during the squeeze, there will be multiple versions of what we've seen already. Like this is quite a dramatic one, so we'll skip on to through here, and this is how it went, as we know, called this, called that, called this. Here we are, right? So pause it there. There'll be multiple instances of this during the squeeze where we're like, whoa, and then people will be up here saying, oh, we've topped, guys, we've topped. And all the people like, I'm not going to name any names. We've topped, guys, we've topped, and we'll go down to something like this here, right? And just as we are at the minute, you know, there's people saying, like, that user are all idiots. Like, I got 5 or 6 comments this morning on videos that I just ended up deleting because, you know, there's no point engaging with the trolls. Saying, ha, you're so stupid, etc. You know, they'll be laughing on the other side of their face shortly. And then the prices will then go on up, right? Because essentially, this is old news, this is new news, this is the start of higher trend, this is a higher high than here, there's a higher low than here. And so people will say, oh, but we've peaked because the range is so huge and it's so dramatic, and you know, they don't have any of this to look at, so they'll be thinking like, oh, this is a peak, look how much we've retraced since then. You know, they draw on a fib and they'd say, I was drawing a fib and they say, oh look, it was a valid fib when we went through the 236. It was scary when we made the 382. We're beyond the 50%. We've even gone beyond the 618 in the golden pocket. We're screwed, guys. And then what we get is like a counterintuitive retracement level here with pulling it on, or do we get like, oh we failed and going, anyway, this is I'm talking back about now again. But during the squeeze, people will say like, oh, we've done it, that's it, we've topped, guys. But really we've just done a retracement of this particular move. There's been no top action, there's been nothing to call, there's been no break of the Bollinger Band on the lower level. No, all we did was come down and touch it here. There was no close inside and out of it again. In fact, anything, we went straight back up and touched this here. We nearly had another reversal of the trend, right? This is to a degree bullish at this point. This might be said by some people to be weak, but then as soon as we hit the Bollinger Band, traced it, bounced up again, hit the middle level, above the middle level. Now we're at the top of the Bollinger Band. You know, we're looking down at the 4-hour timeline. This isn't insignificant. And we can, I would say that this is bullish and that we're doing well, and that any test around here are good entry points for looking like this. But a lot of people would say, but we've sold, like we've peaked, right? And so not only would they think we've peaked here, right, which is in some degrees a bit of a tragedy for them. It's a personal tragedy. That's not where they're going to sell, right? Because they're only going to identify that in their panic and in their insecurity and in their fear. They're going to identify that as a top when prices are here. And what they're going to say is, well, it's better selling here than it is selling here, and lost everything, and they sell. And the prices go up again, right? That's why this happens. This is because people here, some people are like, well, I'm quite happy taking profits there. And those same people are like, and I've learned that it's nice making money, I'm going to enter again here. And those traders do well. They don't contribute to the squeeze, but they do well, and they contribute in this buying again, so fair enough. And then the people who panic and don't have a plan and worry and think, oh shit, you know, and they're going on someone's advice to get in here, and when this happens, you know, that person isn't available to speak to, and they don't know what to do, right? They're a tip taker, they're a tip giver, they've got no idea, they don't have their own plan, they're looking for the person who has all the answers, and that person isn't available at the moment, so they panic and they sell. And that's the people who have no plan. They think they've heard this narrative of selling on the way down, and they think that this looks like a king peak, so they get out, and it's a personal tragedy because we haven't actually broken the parabolic SAR, which is an indicator of a stop and reversal of a parabolic trend, which is what we'll be in, a parabolic trend. And will that trend have stopped? Will it have reversed? Well, this indicator is made to tell us that. And on this move, it says no. You know, this if we were looking at our TA from earlier, this would be another confluent factor to say this was a buy, it's probably a buy here, it's probably a buy here, and if we get down again, it'll be another buy, right? Until such time as this breaks. But not only is this not broken on any of these tests, but we've most recently broken the one on the top side. We've created this now trending upwards, higher low closes. We've broken out of a formation here that looked like a consolidation, seems to have retested it and been a positive bullish formation. So this is a 4-hour, you know, I'm not going to count the 50 minutes, so you know, bear in mind for the rest of the day we might still get those lower entries, but this looks positive, and this is what you would say during the MOASS. You'd be like, well, I'm not interested in selling there, right? Like, this is great, guys, you know, whereas people who don't look at this stuff might be panicking from that, which is understandable. I empathize. There's nothing to say that the trend has changed, even though we have done a more than significant retracement, right? Even though we're watching some people who are like reasonably good traders will draw a fib on that, like you saw me do earlier, and they'll say, but we've gone beyond the 236, so look out, guys, and they'd be drawing like extensions to the 1414 or the 1618, stuff like that, and they'd be saying, look, we're going down to $35, we're going down to $89, $79. That would be their calls. Anyway, so yeah, there's parabolic SAR and there's the Bollinger Bands, and I've told you a little bit about how we use them to identify when the MOASS has started. With the Bollinger Bands, the closes outside of it, opens and closes outside of it, and you've seen a couple of examples of how powerful that is. The parabolic SAR for where you can see, right, well, the trend has perhaps, if not changed, right, uptrend, downtrend, the trend changed. We could say that this overall trend is still in a period of flux until such times as significant, right, go back to the daily, although because of such volatile price action we don't get as many things to look at, but we can see that the overall trend hasn't changed because we haven't broken the parabolic SAR. Our current expected mean of the range that we're travelling through has not yet broken, as determined by the Bollinger Bands, and then the centre line here functions as a 21 EMA, and you can see we're touching it at the minute, we're above it. That's good news for the minute, but also with regards to measuring the break of the trend after the squeeze, all the constitute parts of these indicators are great for measuring the strength of the trend and whether it's reversed. On their own, they're fantastic. If you add in below the RSI, especially RockyOutcrop's one with the EMA cross, then you can determine the relative strength of each thrust against each other. You can spot divergence, and you can say, well, I can see that this most recent thrust, despite being higher than what was previously identified as the peak, we can see that the underlying strength behind it isn't due to as many people buying. It's more due to the lack of liquidity on this particular rise. As you would expect, having recently gone through a price level, there's not as many orders in at that level shortly afterwards, and so the liquidity at that level is drier and volatility is higher, so a second thrust could go higher without having the same buying strength behind it. So if you can identify a move beyond the parabolic SAR on the top side from one of these moves that then ultimately reaches a higher level than a previous peak, but that peak shows divergence on the RSI. Here's the nice ice cream colours that Rocky put in the summer for this RSI. You can see if that, say, this RSI was like way lower, which is here, but the prices are too, so there's no divergence, and the price itself was way higher, that would signify divergence. That would be the bearish divergence that we'd be looking for to call some sort of a top on the MOASS. And then how would it be? How would the drop go? Well, this is something we can't determine ahead of time. We can say that hypothetically 3 or 4 different scenarios there might be, but there's no value in doing that really. I will be here live at the time, and I'll tell you when I think that we're peaking, or I'll tell you when I think that we have put in some sort of a peak. We'll only be able to identify that subsequently, right? We'll only be able to identify a divergence top after that second top has been put in, so that's when we'll identify the divergence, right? Because the trend will have changed. Whoops. And it's only after the second peak, let's imagine, right, that let's just ignore all that, right, and imagine this is our peak and this is our second peak. We can see that the second peak happens when our RSI is lower, our prices have in fact gone higher. We'll only be able to identify that as having been a high when prices have again come down a little bit. They don't have to form a new low, but they do have to put in a significant turn, at which point we'd be able to spot divergence. We'd be able to say, guys, I think we may have recently peaked, and we can sell and not feel guilty that we're undermining the squeeze, while at the same time maximizing our own profits. And if you do manage it that way, so for example, follow great advice that Ape Andy's put in about removing orders on the books that you might have put in somewhere during all this here, you know, like for your own convenience. Instead, do something like, say, wherever your order was, right? Let's say your order was here, right? This you're going to put in a line at that area where your order was, and then you're going to right click on that line, and you're going to go add alert. And you click on alert. Add alert is not available in replay mode. Oh, I'm still in replay. Go away, right? So say you had a line and you said, right, I'm going to take 1% of my position at 69,420. I'm going to take 32% of my position at 10 million, and I'm going to maintain the remaining 60+% to trade when I can identify we've peaked and sell on the way down. If you did that, right? Now, I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying that that's one potential strategy. Rather than put your orders in for 1% at 69,000, 1% at, or whatever percent at 10 million, instead just put a line in the charts, or a dot, or whatever you want. Right click it, click add trend line, turn on this that suits you, right? Showing a pop-up, definitely get it going, beep, 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 alert. You can have it once, you can have it once every time it does it. You can have it once every open and close. You can have it happen every minute that it does it. You want it to beep at you and alert you. You can notify you on the app if you've got it. You can have it open-ended if you've got a pro account. If you're not, you can just set that deadline for a significant time in the future. You can send it and send you an email, or if you've even got any programming skills and you want to hook it up to other apps or other APIs you're using, you could have a webhook on it. And that's your alert, and you'll put that alert in, and when prices get to 69,420, should you want it to sell there, you can come along and you can click to put in an order or sell it. Either of that, you'll probably get it. Pardon me, really need a cup of tea, been talking for a while now. So, and I don't know if any of this is any help to anybody. I hope it is, and I hope people are still tuned in. I hope the microphone's still working. I hope I'm not completely doing this all wrong. So that's how you put in an alert on TradingView. If you'd like to know more about it, I've got a tutorial series on how to use TradingView. And an alert is better than an order, because an order on the books will suggest that there is a point of liquidity, which will cause other people to react to those prices. It'll also add to certain calculations that people do that calculate potential range. So you're better off just not having that there for your own good, right? Now you might think it's convenient, but actually it's just not any more convenient than having an alarm set up that goes to every device you own and tells you then to come along and sell it, right? It's not, because you'll actually want to pay attention during the squeeze anyway. So you can do that, and then you'll have areas where you'll be able to say, right, this is my plan, that's my idea, here's my alert, sit down, activate robot mode. I'm going to be aware of my emotions, I'm going to enjoy everything I'm going through, but I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to be mature, I'm going to be smart, I'm going to be wise, and in 10-15 years time, when the news stations are still interviewing everybody about that life-changing GME situation, they come around to your house because you made the most money and you're the guy that lives in the huge castle down the road, right? So, boom, set your alarm. Then use these indicators and others, and all the people that be doing live stream. I mean, I like to borrow a phrase from RockyOutcrop and say, I'm not a YouTube monogamist. You can watch as many and as often as other people as you like, and if you tune in here, then it's appreciated. There'll be other people also doing the MOASS lives, whether or not that's their plan. When it's happening, they'll be forced to. Other YouTubers, as you've seen, the people I was inspired by in the Why We Trade video, they'll be doing it, right? They'll do live streaming anyway, and it'll be the thing to look at, so everyone will be looking at it. And you'll be able to pick who you want, and if you do choose to spend it with me, I'd be delighted to see you. These are all my buddies, and I'll definitely like to see us there. And you can rely on me doing the stream. So then when it happens, these are your indicators: Parabolic Stop, Bollinger Bands. I'll also be using lots of other things, you know, similar, that do similar jobs. This is constituted by highs and lows. There's Parabolic SAR and the ways that follow it. I'll also be using Donchian channels. They do a similar deal, but they're also better when you're using complementary other indicators, like, for example, the EMAs and RSIs and DMIs, and then the MACD again. It'll be on there along with lots of other stuff, and we'll be measuring the strength of each thrust. We'll be measuring the divergence and the relative strength between them. We'll be looking at indicators to see whether the trend has changed. We'll be able to define what that trend is and those candles that are marking it for us. We'll pay close attention to all these sort of things, and we'll be trying as best as possible to stay calm and deliver the best TA. Because although, you know, when you're watching, say, let's say, what are your biggest fan of sport? Are you a huge fan of the Super Bowl? And do you like football or soccer or whatever? You imagine you're at the Champions League, and imagine you're the captain of your team, and you're in the final of the biggest competition that you could possibly ever be in. Say it's the World Cup, and you're playing for your country, and you're the captain. And it's the biggest moment, right? It's the penalties, it's the end of the game. You can be in the stand, not holding a position in GME, screaming and cheering and shouting and singing and being as happy as you want, right? And loving the moment as well as still experiencing the fear. But if you're on the pitch and you're that guy taking that penalty, you have to remember to not let those emotions affect your decision, right? Just remember, the goals are massive. The goalkeeper is tiny. You can hit the ball when and wherever you want. And it's actually really easy as long as you're not affected by your emotions. And you have to not only make that decision so that you score for yourself, but you're doing it for the rest of your team, you're doing it for all the people going crazy in the stands, and you're doing it for your family back home, your friends, and everything you grew up dreaming about, right? This is your penalty. And if you're first up or last up, it makes no difference. You have to maintain that same perspective. You're going to stick to the plan. You're going to do what you practiced. You're going to score that goal. Then afterwards, when what happens, even if it turns out that, you know, the prices had a subsequent further thrust up, but you got in and out, you got out more or less where it definably near the top, you can then go home and celebrate and scream and shout from the top and be happy about everything. But when the point comes when you're taking the penalty, you're not going to make the mistake that countless others have made before you. You're going to be calm, you're going to be collected, and you're going to score. So here's to us doing that. Anyway, why am I talking about that? I can't remember. So I think I've covered everything there. Have I got my microphone on? How's chat? Let's get back and see. 141 people. This is still crazy. Let's go up and see what some people have said. Oh my god, I got another donation. $4.99. Stay strong, diamond handers. Sanjo Kojak. Hey, Sanjo Kojak's here. And he's donated to fucking hell. Nice one. Nice one, Sunjo. Thanks very much, Scott. Jason Gilbertson donated $5. I think I saw that earlier. Right, triangle forming on the 1 minute chart. Haha, that's funny. The 1 minute chart. We could look at that. If you draw a formation on, even on the 15-minute chart, your reliability has been significantly reduced from the areas where, say, the bull cascade patterns were created, right? He didn't go through the 1 minute chart to draw them out, and their statistical reliability on those time frames is very much reduced. So I'll look at that in a minute for a laugh, but that's what it is, a laugh, right? So I think I've read a lot of stuff now, and chat's maybe died down a wee bit, but I see we've got 150 freaking viewers. That is crazy. Right, what will this chat say? So there's no introduction of these new rules. I've read that, right? Still expecting to move by the end of the week. Read that for sure. Quick recap, done all that. Moved on to the other stuff. Hi, Tracebot, and hi, Sanjo. How you doing? Juan Castano, hi, Tracebot, and Super Cup and handle in a D chart. Super Cup and handle in the chart. I think you're perhaps talking about the Super Cup and handle that I was talking about earlier, maybe. John Chambers, Cameron, have heard of orders in Germany taking 45 minutes to fill. 45 minutes to fill an order? Is this like a market order taking 45 minutes to fill? Jeez, it's like funny when it takes longer than a couple of seconds. You have to sort of empathize with the guy like phoning around and all the work he's having to do. Triangle formula chart, read that. Do you think we'll go down today? Well, I mean, I think I answered that. If you've got any of the questions that you might think, well, I mean, I bet you somebody else has asked this. They have, and I've covered it in the stream. So if you want to watch it back, there is very little wasted time. I try to talk about helpful things all the time. So definitely go back and check it out. Glasgow Holder checking in. How's it going? Fithrid. The Braveheart video was classmate. Thanks very much. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? We slipped that little Braveheart one in between Gwen Stefani and Ewan McGregor. Nice little sandwich that. Croatian Ape here. Hey, how's it going? Just want to say thank you. A while back I actually started to lose faith in GME, but then I found your channel and you calmed me down. That is so great to hear. I'm glad that you're calm. It's very important. When Moon? July. Sunjo Kujak, good on you, mate. Griffin, hey, there you are. Making friends, everybody making friends. I'm all chilled up, good one. But hey, I am still waiting for my transfer to the broker to go through so I can buy more. Do you think I can still buy at a dip price tomorrow? Oh, well, if it takes you till tomorrow, yeah, I don't necessarily see... Like, we were looking at the breakout of the previous formation as being a retest on the daily chart. So, with that being said, we would expect a close in and around where we are at the minute. And tomorrow's open... I don't see anything fundamental, something dramatic changing between then and now. So I think that you shouldn't be too worried. But, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So those ups and downs, much to gain, have gained. On the ups and downs, sucks to hold and let gains go by, but what can you do? Yeah, there is that feeling, right? But the answer is what you can do is you can trade other things, which go up and then take profit on them. And then when they go down, take more profit on them, and then you can even, so that's just what I do, right? I was saying recently that my GME position is already so large it's dominating my account, which isn't something I'd normally do, and because I am a professional trader, i.e. I live off the money I trade, I have to pay all my bills, eat, have every aspect of my life satisfied with the money that I get from taking profits off my trades. And while I'd love to build a huge, massive portfolio with a massive account and that, I don't have like the income from, say, YouTube to pay for my life. I don't have other jobs which pay for this stuff. And during the pandemic, every other source of income I had completely dried up, right? Bit of a nightmare in lots of different respects. But and I'd love to take more profits on the other trades I'm doing, but I can't, because so much of my investment is committed for the time being, right? And I can't use it for trading that way. So it means that you're even more pressured into doing an even better job, and you have to be even more strict on yourself and even more disciplined. So that's one of the things I do, and I trade all the time, make a living. So that's the other thing you can do. Or you could start a YouTube channel and start contributing, adding value to other communities or things that are happening in other movements, and then there'll be some people generous enough to send in donations, which you can use to chip into even more GME. Or a sausage supper, whatever suits you. Sucks to hold and let gains go by. Exactly, yeah. So it does suck, and there is little real lessons to be taken from it, other than that your self-discipline is strong and well done, and you can use that in the same way when you're trading other things, right? That self-discipline can be reflected in how well you stick to your stop losses, or how much time you spend doing TA before you make a decision to enter a trade. The risk management, the work you put into committing to your strategy so that you're successful over time. These are all things we can do. And I want to give that Olga a good answer there, because it's a really good question, and it's a really human question to ask too. Guys, I want my monies now. Same. Appreciate the stream. Thanks. You're welcome, VWAP. Funny name. Do you ever use Elliott Waves or only Fib? Yeah, I use Elliott Waves a lot. I like Elliott Waves. I was going to get Rocky on to do his Elliott Waves because he's fantastic at it. And because of the technical difficulties we've been having this stream, because we're already live, it'll be difficult to organise it. But he's agreed to come on Thursday's show, and Thursday I'll do a live stream, as I do every Tuesday and Thursday from now on. Tuesday's TA, Thursday's TA, GME. And the stream's also already coming to the end, so I'm going to have to save AMC for Thursday too. So on Thursday from 2am we're going to do the first TA I've done live on AMC, so that'll be good. So I'll do comprehensive and give it everything for the entire month that it needs, right down to the 15 minutes probably if we're looking at it at the time. I'll also do more on GME and say other indicators I'll use during the MOASS to determine the peak. I'll talk a little bit about anything anybody has any questions of. I was also prepared to do different tickers in this stream, and I'll do them on that one too, but we never got round to it yet, so we'll save it for the next one. And and we'll have Rocky in to do his Elliott Wave stuff, which is pretty good. I mean, I think the Elliott Wave's good, right? I've been using Elliott Wave and put maybe a couple of years worth of experience of having Elliott Wave on hand. But I only really got into it when I saw Rocky's success at using it, and he's maybe closer to 7 years of experience with this sort of thing. So get him on, and he'll articulate what he sees as the relevant parts to it. And I'm sure there's other strategies out there, right? People perhaps are asking this because they've seen somebody else talk about it or whatever. So I'm sure that you want the best possible value added there, and the truth is the best person at it is Rocky. So seeing as we're pressed for time, we'll get you'll get him on to do it. I borrowed Stefan. Hey Stefan, how's it going, man? I borrowed Death shows another 750k GME shares are ready to be borrowed, i.e. shorted, so be prepared for another dip when these shares get borrowed. Okay, interesting. And I borrow, wonder what price they're going to be paid for holding on to them. Also, I borrow desk, where are they getting the shares that they're now able to loan out? I wonder. And are they from people who've bought them to allow that to happen? Yeah, but so that might be just natural. I borrow, got those as a period of accumulation. But 750,000, that's a fair chunk. Nothing like the 35 million that they just managed to shift at market. So I don't know if the dip will be that big, but I can imagine that it'll affect the liquidity. Hi Jamie, thank you for the stream. You're welcome, Stefan. Thanks for the contributions. I wives hate that I huddle through corrections. Lately though, her boyfriend seems to love it. That's pretty handy, yeah. Like, I appreciate where you're coming from there, Winky Winky Donkey. That's very good of you to be so kind and generous. Remember how much how much people like, you know, just the odd little toast and marmalade and, like, you know, a bunch of flowers and things like that. You can get them these sort of things too. I'm sure that'll make them feel good. Haha, says Rocky, good one. You give me faith that I may one day lay 10 days on the table so that I may compete with the fish stick meals he currently provides. Yeah, that's a good idea, right? Or at least a little bit of salad to go with the fish stick. When is the squeeze? Love your DD and information. I'm here from Ape Andy. Hello, Antoinette. That's a fantastic name you've got there. Welcome, everyone from Ape Andy. Big hug to everyone. Welcome. Who knows, but I think in May at some point. Good answer. Hedge funds getting desperate. Stronger and stronger short attacks. Great stuff. Tomorrow always a day away. So I interpret that to mean that the squeeze happens this month, but I don't really know shit. I'm with you on that one. Hell yeah, haha. Will this presentation be available to go back and watch a review on YouTube? Yes, this presentation will certainly be available, as will all of my streams be available for you to go over and pick up the little tidbits on the TA, or take some confidence from them, or see things you've missed. I'm sure that on a rewatch there will be some things that you'd be able to get some benefit from. I certainly hope so anyway. And I noticed that, like, this is a thing, right? And I'm struggling. This YouTube channel struggles, and I don't sure if it's the nature of GME or the nature of the audience, or just the timing I've picked, or is it that just other YouTubers are sucking up all of the stats or whatever it is. But the watch times on my videos are very low, right? Even yesterday's video, Why We Trade, it's only 4 minutes long, but my audience retention is 49%, and the average watch time is 46%, which isn't bad, right? Because some people click it and for some reason, whatever, right? They didn't mean to. That's all understandable. It's not that long, and people maybe were expecting something else from me, so that's all understandable. But what it leads to is that YouTube never recommend other people to watch it. Like, it won't be on their homepages or that unless they're already subscribed. It won't be on the next playlist or anything like that, so people won't get to find out about it, as opposed to some other channels like Andrew Mo Money or whatever, who might have, you know, 6,000 or 7,000 people watching this whole stream, and this watch time goes up. It's like not the number of people watching isn't really relevant to the YouTube algorithm. It's more like how those people engage. So, you know, they get thousands of comments. They, like, everyone likes the video obviously because he's constantly saying like it, and he sells that narrative that, like, if more people like his video, then it gets more pushed more by YouTube, so more people see it, so more people hear about GME, which I kind of subscribe to that narrative, right? I do believe that the more publicity, the more he gets, then the more people will hear about GME. So I can see where he's coming from, but I don't get that because YouTube never frickin' recommends it, because I don't get the watch time. Like, I just get over 50%, and I've heard you need 70% to actually be getting real growth. So, I mean, if y'all want to come back and watch, if y'all want to watch my videos on repeat, then when you're, you know, gardening or whatever, I can't see that harming me, but I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what it is to get through these thresholds. Anyway, just keep plugging away and hope it works out. And then the people I'm meeting here are freaking top quality, really nice. Like, just to, you know, you also get you get lots of nice people saying fun things like, "Oh, come on, we'll celebrate in my house during the squeeze and after the squeeze and whatever." And, like, a lot of them are sincere and genuine, and I appreciate it, and it's nice and it's fun. But then you also get, like, really personal messages from people just thanking you and saying thanks about how nice it's been and how helpful it's been. That's dead good. I love that. And then, as I've said before, you get to see yourselves, you get the audience that out there making connections with each other in other arenas, and, like, having recognized each other from a comment or a video or something, and these all say hello to each other, and that's amazing. So, you know, I don't need to be the next Shane Dawson. I don't need to be the next James Charles. Oh my god. David Dobrik. Shit, can't say it. They're all gone, right? They're all falling like dominoes. Can't say any of them people. Who are the good YouTubers at the minute? Trisha Paytas. I can't be the next Trisha Paytas. then it doesn't matter, because at least I've made lots of nice friends. And you know, it tends to be that if you just stick at being yourself and you're a nice guy, then in the end it pays off. I do believe that, so we'll see how that all goes. Also, I do the best TA on GME on YouTube, and if anybody else wants to disagree with that, I'd like to see better. So we'll see. Lots of DD saying tomorrow should be a big day, but who knows? Well, I'll have a check at that later. Any chance you're touching on the potential profits from stocks that might go down during because of the potential squeeze? Oh, that's a good idea. I could do that, but not today. Can't get excited with the dates. They said the big day was going to be in April with DV exercising his shares. I hope tomorrow is the day. Let's go to GME to the moon. I understand what you're saying there. Yeah, when you put a date on things, it's these expectations only ever really lead to disappointment, right? If it happens, you'll get some satisfaction. Satisfaction is worth what? A lot. When you weigh it, it weighs a lot less than disappointment, right? So expectations are no real use to you. Though if you're using them as a guide to where you'll enter and exit trades, then that's helpful. When Lambo / when moon / the answer I've been thinking is July, but who knows? It will be very sunny there, and in Scotland we only get 15 minutes of vitamin D a year, but I will sacrifice that for the squeeze should it be in July. What time and time zones are you planning on streaming every Tuesday and Thursday? Every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 p.m. British summer time. That is 2 p.m. GMT +1. I think it's +1, might be -1, but the point is it's when the market's open, right? So wherever you are in the world and whatever time it is when the market's open, on Tuesday and Thursdays, you can bet your bottom dollar that if you go onto TradeSpotting, then you'll find me streaming. Yesterday dip was 225 borrowed shares for shorting. Was that part of the volume? Interesting. IBKR is what iBorrow reports on. The brokerage is garbage. Okay, right, that's interesting. That was the guy that went on the news and started crying about how we were tapping the oil. Oh, that guy is that the guy with the real potato head and like the no neck potato head? Wonder how he gets the top button done. That guy. If it is, he's such a fucking knob. And I'll give up all of the advertising revenue. I need to say that. Which is what happens when I swear like an idiot like that. I'm so stupid. Oh my god, and there comes a donation that more than makes up for it. Damn. Thanks so much. I imagine I'll see that on screen, but I'm not looking at that screen, so maybe I won't see it. Oh shit, I'll have to get to that bit. Where is it? Sandra Kojak, that. RockyOutcrop has super chatted $6.99. Wow, thanks for the great vids, buddy. Oh shit, there. Thanks for the great vid, buddy. It came over from Ape Andy's shoutout when I looked for your channel. I didn't come up until I typed it out. Exactly. Yeah, they hate me over there at YouTube HQ. Not letting anyone in with the bad spelling. Come on, I've got bad spelling. Look, I should be welcoming people in with the bad spelling. Now, I'm not even saying exactly bad spelling. It might even be good to spell it differently. But yeah, that's great. Another person coming over from Ape Andy and a donation too, which feels fantastic. That's really good. Thank you so much for doing that. Between the donations from this stream and last stream, I can get either a microphone or a share in GME. So I'm going to have to think about that. Talk about decisions, huh? That is a hard decision. More arguments in the thread. Which thread? We need to be more controversial. More arguments in the thread. I could be more controversial. Who should I be? I could pick an enemy, eh? Like I could pick somebody and say like, so another YouTuber and that, and send you guys all over to streams when they start to say, why is everyone here? You know, when the real GME community is at TradeSpotting stream, where the people who are actually invested in this asset and care about the audience rather than care about their own stats, which I mean I sound hypocritical because I've drawn my attention to them, but that's what they're doing when they're, you know, feeding their dog and not letting it leave the little shelf, like so that it turns into some little, like one of those the civilians on the spaceship in WALL-E, like sat there getting fatter all the time, able to move. I could send yous all over to someone like that, like some hypothetical figure like that, who like streams constantly on GME but has no value to add to the thing himself. I could send yous all over there to talk to the thousands and thousands of people in the audience who don't know I exist and provide this level of value, just to let them know. And that would create some controversy. I imagine I'd get a little bit of kickback from that, but it would be well worth it for the benefit it would do for the channel. But we'll see how. You know, I would never like mobilize people to cause something destructive like that, when all you'd really need to do is just like tell your mates, hey guys, there's this guy streaming, well worth it, check it out if you care about the TA. We are going to the moon. You need to be more controversial. You need to post a link to your channel on Reddit. Well, I've got a subreddit called r/tradespotting, and I'm sure there's some links to the channel on there. And other people, and this is a thing, I can't get access to certain subreddits because I need certain levels of post and comment karma. And I can't post or comment because I don't have high enough karma. So like I'm expected to go and spend my life on other subreddits which I'm not interested in, commenting and posting, upvoting people who I don't care about, in order to get like a community engaged with my stuff there, so that I could then come back and post the altruistic pro bono stuff I do on Superstonk and that. It's like I'm willing to help and I'm willing to do it for free, but I'm not willing to like put in loads of legwork to game a system somewhere so that I can like get up. And when that system's in place for a reason, right? The people that put it there are well aware that it prevents people from posting. Do they think it helps their overall community? I think the narrative they're trying to sell everybody is it stops bots spamming things, but they've got moderators, right? They don't need code to do the moderating. They've got moderators for the job, and so they should be doing that job, but they're not. They're relying on these karma levels, and that prevents contributions from people like me and others. Thousands of others just like me are prevented from contributing. So, make of that what you will. I came here from Ape Andy. Thank you. Usually watch Uncle Bruce and Ape Andy for good feeling. Coming here for technical analysis. How awesome. Right, great. So I need to top up on the good feeling stuff. And raise my game to reach Uncle Bruce and Ape Andy. I'm not sure if I'll be in Ape Andy's league for a while. And Uncle Bruce has got a very endearing setup, hasn't he? And I'd never take anything away from these people, from Uncle Bruce. So yeah, I'm definitely going to need to get a better setup. Having a camera on would help, I imagine. Then you'd be able to see how genuine I am on the face. William Lackey, not very enthusiastic. You sound like you should be a golf commentator. William Lackey, we invented golf in Scotland, but I'm still of the opinion that golf ruins a good walk. Mind you, if you've seen golf, the commentators generally tend to be people who really like it, and so they're very enthusiastic. So they've got like really enthusiastic attitudes and stuff. So generally speaking, you will find golf commentators are actually quite happy and whoa, which is cool. But also like that not very enthusiastic comment that you put in there. I mean, I don't take it personally, but I would say that it characterizes you as a bit of a fan, Dan. But if your first comment that I notice from you is one that's neither positive nor neutral, then I think here's somebody out here who's got problems in his life and he wants to try and take them out on other people, which, well, let's talk about that for enthusiastic, right? People like that. They're complete tubes and I hate them with a passion. So how's that for enthusiasm, William? Wilfred Dale, we are going to the moon very soon. You need to be more controversial. We read that. Well, there's some controversial in my response to William Lackey. Robert Cielo, Ape Andy sent me. Dude, you're all my time favourite YouTube, just saying. Thanks, man. That's so nice. Great to catch you this time around. Maurice. Looking forward to the next one. I'll see you on Thursday. You are only one where I have the bell activated. Oh yeah, that's you that put that comment on. That was so nice. Thanks so much to hear that. You're a very good guy. Thanks very much for doing that. Reading that warmed my cockles. More than makes up for the stuff like Williams just said. Giles Jander, can you talk about all those reports about the overseas brokers not being able to make larger buys on GME? I actually don't know much about that. The first I heard about it was someone saying that Ape Andy had experienced some limited availabilities, or had been mentioning that his brokers had been experiencing it, or something along those lines at the start of the stream. Since then I've read a few comments on it, but haven't actually seen what they've said, so I'm not sure. I don't know. You on Twitter, bud? Maybe that's me. Yes, I am. I'm _Jamie_current. That's me. And what else? Where else are we? Oh my god, another donation that I've missed. Oh my god, there's so much stuff here. Jeez. Gamer Andy, that's that. William, can you talk about that set this week? This shit weak as fuck. Bye. Jordan Anabeza. Weak as shit. See, this is so funny when you get comments from people who've got difficulties in their lives, like Jordan there. As you see, Jordan, I live quite a happy life where I talk to very friendly people on YouTube for fun, and we all enjoy it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, and we would probably all look at somebody who was here and didn't enjoy it as being a bit of a weirdo. And then if they came and made a negative comment like that, we'd probably all say, "Hey, who has just identified themselves as a massive tube for us all to look at and say, thank God I'm not that guy." Well, the person who it is today is Jordan Anabeza. So see you later, Jordan. Is it just me, or is his voice very bassy? Apparently I have a bassy voice. I don't care about the squeeze. I have a neurotic disorder where I only care about red days so I can buy more GME. This is quite funny. You see, over a piece, that neurotic disorder probably works out as quite profitable, as long as you can sell when they're green days. So I can buy more GME. I hate green days because it limits my ability to buy. Yay! Thanks for the great viz, buddy. I came over from Andy's shout out when I did look for your channel. It didn't come up. It's like, thanks so much for the donation, Rocco. That's really nice of you. Cheers. I hope I haven't disappointed too many people with my reaction to the negative comments in there. But you know, sometimes you just need a little bit of confrontation to shake the cobwebs off. Yes, it is. I thought it was my speaker. Well, maybe it's my microphone, but I do have a bassy voice. No, that is correct. The guy who cried is not the IBKR chairman. IBKR chairman spoke about it going to thousands. Okay, I'm in the UK, only been in Scotland once. Gretna Green wore a kilt also 6 years ago tomorrow. Gretna Green? You Gretna Green 6 years ago and you've only been in Scotland once and you wore a kilt. If I was an amateur detective, I'd say the reason you were there was because you ran away from home to get married. Or somebody did. Somebody was getting married and you were there, and there was a bad murder in the pantry with the candlestick. William K. They look somewhat similar though. You think we were filling the gap at 140, 13th of April? Yeah, I think that perhaps if we get down to 140 and there's a gap fill, then that would be the narrative we'd all say afterwards. That's a good point, William. That's a good point. You don't need to think about that one at all. If that's a negative comment, then that's great. I will not think about it again. There is always a different date. They talk about the moon happening. It's true, isn't it? Like, people that put a date on it always move. I've put dates on when we might see pullbacks, after which I suppose I've expressed it as then moon, as in we do go up. But then $45 to 200 is a bit of a moon, I suppose, right, in any normal person's life. William, you're right. They do look similar. Oh, right, that's it. Indeed, and the guy crying was a random billionaire not connected to the brokers. Okay, that's it. Well, he's not wrong. I found it on Reddit. Well, if crossbows div needed, thank you very much. Now all here is Doge on every platform. I'm going to keep buying. More dips of game. I missed the boat on Doge twice. I had 50,000 when it was 0.04 and sold in June of 2020. Oh, jeez. June 2020. Well, that was like after a bit of an upthrust, right? Better than sell it on the 15th of February 2020. I can't even post a meme and I have the karma. Yeah, tell me about it. I still have money in brokerage. Oh look, that's from a paid donation. I still have money in brokerage to buy GME. I want to be proactive and raise funds just in case. I'm preemptively selling kidney. Any advice where I can get good money for a kidney? I don't know. I know that you can get away with doing it in Croatia, and there is a Croatian GME holder in the chat, so he might give you some good advice. They have underground market for kidneys and such like, but I don't think you get the best prices. The best prices would probably be in Bel Air, and it's the sort of place you could probably just walk around with a cool box and somebody will take it off your hands. So you're Irish trace botting. Good Irish name, Curran. It is true, that is my very old ancient Irish name, Curran, from the O'Curran, which is the name of the true king. I'm the king of Scotland and Ireland. That's my name. That's what it means. That's made that up at last spot there, but it should be. That's what it is. Yes, so my parents are Irish. I've lived in Ireland for a long time. But I was born in Scotland and I lived in Scotland for a long time. So half Irish, half Scottish. And ask your doctor if they'll pay you in GME. That'd be great. My doctor at the minute doesn't pay me in anything. Ape Jamie, do you see catalysts in the near future? The catalysts being, well, I mean, yeah, the things we've talked about. I don't like to put too much hype on the catalysts themselves as being the be-all and end-all any one thing. But yes, these new rules from the SEC/the DTCC, and when they're all implemented, when everything's all worked its way through the system, and the DTC's members are then freely able to turn on the bad actors within their community, yeah, then I see that as being a big also I see the gamma squeezes slowly and utterly drying up liquidity until blast off. Also, you're Irish, read that. A huge fan of red days. Bring it. Dodge attendees. More GME. Might be my speaker. Might be Maurice. I can try and work on it. Maybe I've got something on the bass settings. Maybe the volume's too high. Full stop. That's quieter. I've just turned it down a little bit. Hopefully that's less bassy. I hope it's not crackling. GME is like a pizza crunch. Looks worse than it really is. What is a pizza crunch? That sounds interesting. Sounds like your mic is set up to filter out treble. You would project better if you could add more high end. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Thanks for Y2. That's a really good tip. Maurice, yeah, I sold some of my Doge today. Probably a good day for that. Hi, I'm not familiar with the black market of human organs. Ah, that's you are. You're here. You're there's Aries. Hrovje. Hrovje? Is that probably a really bad pronunciation? It's maybe more like Vroj. I don't know. Guessing. Yeah, you're not familiar with it. You see, I don't believe that. The big smiley face at the end makes me think that he knows more than he's letting on. From Irish Owen Derry myself, just across the way from you. Alright, cool. You're from Ireland too. Nice one. Derry. Some people you hear people calling it the wrong name. I'm not sure what they mean, but yeah, Derry. I know where Derry is. Other variations on the name, I'm not sure where that other place is. Right, great. So thanks very much, everybody. I think that we've come to the end of the stream. What should I cover? If anybody's got any questions, slap them in. And then I'll look at price action while I answer them. And oh, there's a message. My grandparents left Galway for Boston back in the day. My mum procreated with an Italian. I have spent many nights in Galway though and love Ireland. So you're Ireland and Italian. She moved from Galway to Boston. Wow, that means you came from both sides of the debate. If you'd been a mobster, you would have been in both camps. That's pretty cool. Mind you, the Italian one was much better than the Irish one. The Irish people were always drunk, weren't they? Galway's a beautiful, beautiful part of Ireland. Would you sell Bitcoin to buy GME? That's sort of like that could be two questions. You could be articulating like, do I believe more in the GME than Bitcoin? Or it could be, you could be saying, at which point, you know, I mean, I'd sell anything for anything if one of them was topping and the other one was at low, and I thought I could get in and out of both of them and switch around and improve my position. But with GME, I wouldn't necessarily be selling it. Would I be buying it at a dip? Yeah. Would I sell Bitcoin to do it? Perhaps, yeah. I have done, right? I had done at various stages, sold parts of my portfolio in order to increase my holdings of GME, which now constitutes of around 50% of my portfolio, which is because and in order to do that I had to drop some things. But the way I trade is that when things reach buying power, purchasing power, which is significantly above thresholds of the other things in my portfolio, I tend to swap them around, you know, using the fluctuations in relative buying power to increase my overall wealth. So that version of jig juggly poogly has led me to do that exact thing, selling some Bitcoin in order to get some more GME, but not at these specific levels. It was mostly when GME was a lot cheaper, and I was recommending that everybody look to get in around $38, $45. When we were in the hundreds and hundreds. At that point, when Bitcoin was topping out at its most recent high, I sold some of it and I got some GME when it went down again. So I suppose technically I could say did agree with you and would do that. Would I do that right now? It doesn't suit my particular circumstances, and would it suit somebody else's? Well, like I say, it's actually like 7 or 8 different questions. What are up, yo, from California? Nice. Well, that's a beautiful part of the world. I'd love to live in California for a while. Maybe I'll get to know you, Jonathan, hopefully. Hope you're having a good time out there. And if you ever fancy a trip to Scotland, give us a shout. How different is the Scottish accent and the Irish accent? Well, they're very different if you're Scottish, and they're not all that different if you're American. So these things are always relative, and the Irish accent, it changes every 2 miles that you go. So if you're in Ireland, you know, and you live in a little village, you think the guys round the corner sound like fucking numpties. But when you're like from Liverpool and you hear them both speak, you think they sound the same. So it's a difficult question to answer scientifically accurately. What's up? Seen a few people mentioning Ichimoku Cloud for the squeeze. Any views on that? Aye, well, I mean, the Ichimoku Cloud's alright. Yes. I have views on it. Using it for the squeeze. What are they talking about in terms of, like, using it on... I mean, that can only be useful on, like, the weekly time frame. I mean, on the daily, yeah, you could use it on the daily, but what was it going to show you? It wouldn't on the weekly either. You see, the Ichimoku Cloud is good. It uses past price action to extrapolate trends and means and ranges for future price action, so it is quite good, but I'm not quite sure how it would be best deployed during the squeeze. I definitely would go with the indicators I've mentioned ahead of the Ichimoku Cloud in terms of utility, but I can see that it might be complementary to other things. Generally speaking, it would be used to perform the same tasks that I outlined with the Bollinger Bands and the Parabolic SAR, so which I think do the job better, in my experience, from my skills. But RockyOutcrop, who's fantastic with the Elliott Wave and is also really good with the Ichimoku Cloud, he's got a video on how to use the Ichimoku Cloud, and I swear to God, it is the best video you'll ever watch on the Ichimoku Cloud. So if you're looking at how to use it for TA, search RockyOutcrop Ichimoku Cloud and watch that. It's also in my educational playlist on my channel. But yeah, so I mean, there's add that to your thoughts. Yes, by GME, it's worth 175. Cheers, mate. Catch you on Thursday. Thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in. Once we win, definitely want to fly over from the US, have a pint with you, Jamie. Thanks very much. That'd be great to see you. Imagine we've got a few of us all around a big table with a few pints. Pints next to me cost approximately £6.50. So, second most expensive place to buy them in the UK, so we better hope the squeeze happens or we'll all be drinking tap water. Wanted to say I love your 2A. Thanks, Ray. Wishing you nothing but success. Thanks very much, Ray. All the same to you, mate. I found you due to GME. Do your post plays, day, swing trades with analysis and other stocks anywhere? No, I don't do them really anywhere. I've only actually got into doing the YouTube properly since the GME thing. Before then, it was just about putting out educational content so that people would know the sort of things I knew. You know, I thought they were valuable bits of information, so I'll pop them out there. And it's only since GME that I've started doing anything or even thought about live stuff. But sure, like, I mean, I'll definitely keep this idea going if people are interested in it and we get a bit of a community. I like it, and like I was saying earlier, TA can be repetitive and confrontational, right? There's lots of disproving and proving yourself, so to do it all without being able to verbalise things is tough, you know? So, like, I enjoy it. I think I benefit as much as anybody from doing these streams, so I'll try and keep it going if there's interest in them. And I suppose if people enjoy the stream. Anyway, I can't believe I've still got 128 viewers. Thanks so much for all your positive comments, everyone. My concern is the capital gains tax. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a big problem with this GME squeeze that a lot of people would be looking at. But you know, you've got your IRA in that there. You've got various ways of managing this with your IRA Roth. You should look into that, depending on your jurisdiction. What you were talking about Bitcoin there, I got Bitcoin at 7k, taxes will be too much. I see what you're meaning, Native Flight. Yeah, see what you're meaning. Taxes will be too much. It depends where you bought it, what options are open to you with that. But yeah, if they tax every trade. Maybe there's other things you could do with your Bitcoin, like for example, do you think about hedge moves? You know, you could think about maintaining your position by opening a short. If you balance it correctly, then you won't lose money if the price goes up, nor if it goes down. That's the sort of thing that Rocky and myself did from around, throughout 2017, 2018 and 2019. We were buying Bitcoin, but we were managing our positions with short hedges. After GME, you can come to California. I have another room that we were fixing up. We can go to San Francisco and then ride out to LA. After the NG Squeeze, we'll party like it's 2001. Holy crap, that is an amazing offer. Jonathan Castillo has got a spare room that I'm going to be in LA, and then he's going to drive me all over the shop to see all of the interesting stuff. And wow, we're going to be minted, so we'll have a brilliant time. That's a fantastic offer. Thanks, Jonathan. I'm going to be there. Hell yeah, do it. I want to buy GME to Squeeze next year. I want GME to Squeeze next year. I want it to squeeze all over the shop. I'm going to buy GME. I'm going to get it squizzing all over the shop. And then I'm going to make long-term gains. And I'm going to have a story to tell about squizzing all over the walls everywhere. I want GME to squeeze right now. I can't get enough of this GME squeeze. In fact, I'm going to rename this episode The Squeeze. Hey TradeSpotting, just watched a video from Crypto. Now I have blood pressure issues. So good to listen to your calm and wise words. That's great, yeah. Crypto. Emergency update. You have to like my video or the price of Bitcoin is going down. Emergency update. You have to comment on my video or else the price of Bitcoin is going down. Emergency video. I spoke to my friend Carl and he and I are going for a packed lunch and everybody is invited. I want GME to squeeze right now. I want GME to squeeze. How do you think GME will go before going back up? How do you think GME will go before going back up? I think you meant how low do you think it'll go before going back up? Galarga. But to answer your question, what do I think? How do I think it'll go? I think it'll go smoothly. Smoothly. Do you ever see that meme of Theresa May coughing down a fish when she was actually laughing? I think it'll go like that. But how low do I think it'll go? Right, well, let's just go back over to the TME and then say goodbye. We're 155, go down to 15 minutes. We've already done all of this, so if you were... what is that green? This green, wow. Thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. It means a lot, especially everybody who's come from Ape Andy. Really positive to get such a big boost to the subscribers and the viewers. I owe Ape Andy a whole heap of thanks for that. Really grateful, will be my whole life. I'll always remember that. I suppose the first time anyone shouts you out on YouTube and it gives you a boost, you would remember it. But Ape Andy did it for me. God bless Ape Andy. Thank you so much. And everybody who came from Ape Andy, thank you so much. I guess you get extra appreciation all round there. Thanks, guys. So how low do I think it'll go? I mean, some people would tell you that's low, right? I mean, ding, I've done all this already. We've broken through that one. How low do I think it'll go? Well, we've broke through that line, right? So we're probably going to zero. Jokes, yeah. I draw this there. I draw that to there. Most people would say that's as low as it'll go, you know. And I say most people do in TA. In retrospect, you know, there's lots of other things you could say, but it's tested it once, twice, 3 times, so we can say that it's a reliable trend line. On the 4th occasion, if it bounces, then we could say, well, it's unlikely we'll see it again in the short term, right? Because we've proved it once, twice, 3 times as being real. Then the 4th time we've proved it, not only is it real just from a technical analysis perspective, there is truly demand here. And then you'd be looking up, and I mean, although this is a symmetrical triangle when you go back far enough, to me it looks an awful lot more like an ascending triangle. And then this is what I would say, you know, I mean, this isn't necessarily scientifically reliable, robust, but this is what I would perhaps trade myself, right? I mean, like I say in the Why We Trade video, there's risks we take ourselves that we're not prepared to prescribe for others. This is the sort of thing I'd be thinking of anecdotally looking at that formation and say this is actually the tail end of all of this stuff after a retest of the previous formation, and that we might be coming back up here for 183, and that would be where we'd finish the day with a reasonably optimistic outlook for tomorrow. And then people would be saying, like I've said there, maybe it's an ascending triangle. Have you thought about this, Fred? So yeah, that's what I think. And I've covered everything else on all the different timelines that you could possibly be interested in if you want to look at the video. A pint in Iceland is around £10. Jesus McBobs. Enjoying your steal of TA as the last couple of days affected a nice MACD trend you were talking about, RE, the last 2 massive run-ups. Has the last couple of days affected the nice MACD trend? No, not really. Those MACD crosses take a while to play out, and because they're on the daily time frame, I'd give it till the end of the week to see how that looks. But I'm still positive about that, and yep, still positive about that. Boom. A pint in Iceland tenner. Oh my goodness. Heard you from Andy. Thanks for coming over. Catch you in the next stream. Thanks very much. Castillo, I've been waiting since I bought in January 23rd. I've been along a couple of months with reckless rest, but I've met so many awesome people. Best no sleep in my life. Hanging out with people like us apes. Yeah. That is what it's like, right? But get your sleep, right? You're best when your circadian rhythm is all in tune. You'll trade better. You'll make better decisions. So, you know, just turn the screen off. Put your cover over your head, climb into your bed, of a good long sleep and recover so that you're at your optimal for the squeeze. £10. Jabibus. I thought €6 was bad in Dublin. It is bad. It's bad. It's just like you wonder, because it's beer, right? I mean, it's basically water. Anyway, yeah. Taxes and whatnot, I think. We got Koreans in the chats. I'm a Korean ants. I am Korean ants who hold GME since January. Awesome. Korean ants are strong. I've heard they can lift up to 18 times their own weight. Crazy, I know, ruthless when the government controls the booze. What are they like, with the government and their booze? Jesus, like they have luck. Thank goodness they haven't got their hands on all of our recreational substances. Crazy, I know, ruthless, the government controls. Hang on, Korean ant. I don't know what that says, but that sounds like, looks like Korean, and wow, awesome that you're Irish and speak Korean. That's well interesting. I'd love to know some more about Korea and that whole part of the world. Love to go and see what everything's like in Taipei. I'm sure when Ape Andes and the squeeze happen, we're all having a good time. That he wouldn't mind if I took a flight out there and gave him a big hug and congratulations on behalf of every ape. Pint in Middlesbrough, England, £2 to £3. Pint in Middlesbrough, England, £2 to £3. Well, maybe after the squeeze ends, I'll move to Middlesbrough. GME needs to squiz. It needs to squiz. We're calling it squiz now, Antoinette. You think you've got squeeze written in there, but that's passé. We're calling it squiz. I need to donate money to some great causes. Well, there's a link in the description called The Cause of the Trade Spotting. Yeah, no, but seriously, great causes. Exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay it forward big time. Same, I've already tried a little bit. I'm going to keep it up. They just want people to sell GME so they can get in on Dodge and miss the squiz. Can GME exceed the 100k or 1 million? I am expecting at least 500k. Wes, this is the Koreans know the chat, right? They're at least 500 in Korea, and we're still trying to debate whether 69,420 is realistic. See what I'm talking about, guys? No need for any movies or series since February. I can just look at the chart and be entertained. Jerry, right. Also better than any game you're likely to play too. I lived in Korea for a wee bit. Great bunch of lads. Oh, right. Fuck yeah, you've got an interesting life there, Mauricio. Morris. Why am I calling you Mauricio? Suddenly I'm thinking you've got some international name. Antoinette, OPZ. Antoinette, I like your thinking, Antoinette, but remember, squiz, not squeeze. Saw on video on Reddit that Asia is having a hard time filling big orders. I've heard this. Now I'm going to have to go and watch this video. Everybody check it out. Choose life, choose trade spotting, choose the squiz, as Joseph Harris says. So great to meet everybody and have everybody in chat. I'm sorry I reacted negatively to those at the odd negative message. It's just, when people put comments in that, like, I would like them to be known in time that happened, so that later on when we're all proved right and they look like idiots, then everyone remembers. Or if they've been rude, that everybody knows they've been rude. Oh my goodness, I got 50 knock. That is that Peter de Walle. NOK, I'm confused. Is this in Scandinavia? I think someone's been very generous. Very, very generous. NOK 50. What is that? Is that like it's not the kroner, because that's not NOK, is it? NOK currency. Pound sterling. That isn't Norwegian. It is the Norwegian kroner. I got it right. I was right. I did get it right. Where is the chart at? Where am I looking? Here. I'm looking here. And I'm looking on this. Yes, here we are. Correct. Thank you so much, Peter van de Waal. That's really nice. That's really good of you. And 50 of them too. Wow. I wonder. Oh, you're from Denmark. You're talking about the prices of beer. Peter has to pay through the nose for beer. Mind you, relatively, maybe it isn't all that much money, but when you convert it from pounds, it's loads. So thanks very much. That's very generous of you, Peter. Thanks, Peter. I will put that to good use. You can have my word on that. If GME is still low on Friday, then I'm dropping another $1,000 in it. Whoa, Robin, go for it. 69,420 million a share, easy. Oh, I heard that as well. I need to buy shares for people and charge a 10% fee after the squiz, lol. Yes, if you buy shares for people that are abroad and then give them to them, I suppose you'd be like an international broker and you'd be facilitating the squiz. I wonder what the rules are around that. I mean, you can buy shares, and if you get the physical delivery of them and give them to somebody, nobody can stop you doing that. That's a very good idea, Antoinette. Maybe we should all become international brokers of a sort. I'm liking it, and I'm liking this squiz. Pardon me, right, I'm going to go for a cup of tea shortly. The time is, holy crap, it's 5:30. I've been on for 3 hours again. How does this happen? Well, it's thanks to generosity of people like Peter and Daniel, who super chatted a tenner. I still have money in my brokerage to buy a GME. I want to be proactive and raise funds, and just in case, I'm preemptively selling a kidney and invest for. Oh, we covered that one. Good. So I've covered these. Thank God. I thought I'd missed one. Thanks so much for everyone that's donated. Robert read that. Marius read that. Rob blah blah. Norwegian read that. What would William Wallace do in regards to annoying Egypts you have to deal with in chat? What would he do? He would get one of his lieutenants. He'd probably be really nice to them in a public forum, which I wasn't. And then he'd get one of his lieutenants after the meeting to go and make the guy disappear. And he would then probably have to compensate his family and friends, because it wasn't their fault that the guy made the mistakes that they did. And he'd have to be magnanimous about it, but at the same time, he'd probably have to be quite forceful. Nokia. NOK Nokia. Thanks, Luciano. Thanks, Luciano. Yes, thank you. Yes. Scott McKay. Julian A says, I definitely watched that. Directed by Grit Ritchie. Could be a banger. What am I missing? Scott McKay says, who's going to play you and Ape Andy in the movie The Bigger Short? Me and Ape Andy are going to play it. It's going to be like a mix between The Hangover and Back to the Future. Imagine that for a movie. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean, we both got to play ourselves, right? Unless somebody else wants to do it, and we could watch that. I'm sure each of us would enjoy it. But we'd also probably enjoy doing it ourselves. Scott McKay, Peter Van Well. Yay, Peter, thank you very much for the donation. Greetings from Norway. So what I'm curious about, we all know all the scams and illegal practices the hedge funds are practicing day in, day out. The SEC is not going to be the institutional crackdown. I agree with you. What is your opinion on getting it all exposed to the market makers and get someone to police this? Getting this all exposed to the market makers and get someone to police this. Good question. He shoot down lightning bolts out of the airs and strike them down. That's what he'd do. Damn right he would. He shot lightning bolts out of his arse. 800 let's thank you, India. If you don't mind, how would you label the 4-hour chart when it comes to Elliott waves? Oh right, check in on Thursday for the Elliott waves theory. Just to answer Peter's question, because he did donate there, and although I was going to end the stream, I should meet that contribution with some answers. And I think that the market makers in particular that are abusing the system are under the sway of Citadel and well, mostly them, to be honest, but also maybe Melvin Capital have got some. I think it's all Citadel really to do with the Chinese walls and the conflicts of interest. I think it's mostly to do with Citadel, and I think that those particular market makers who work for them are knowingly part of this. I think that there'll be obfuscation at the head of department level so that nobody's able to be blamed, but I think they know perfectly well what they're doing. How do we get them exposed? Not just for what they're doing, which we've already, they've been exposed. You've been exposed. They've been exposed. The question isn't more about exposing their activities, but more exposing them so they're vulnerable to the recourse from the SEC. Market makers they can have their licenses restricted and they'll be banned from ever trading on American markets ever again if they're caught to do certain things, which we've already identified we strongly suspect them of, not least and notwithstanding the failure to deliver information. So when these new SEC rules come down, we can expect there to be across the whole market a number of increases in failures to deliver. And beyond a certain threshold, that means that you're banned from ever trading again. So we can see some of that's already possible. Whether they're afraid of it or not, seems to be the case that they're not, right? Because we go based on the fact that they're so willing to pay the fines. But there's only so many of them are allowed. Plus, so we rely on regulation, but it could be, and I anticipate that to a degree it will be, that these competitors will turn on them and recognize that they're inefficient, that those inefficiencies represent profit signaling mechanisms to them, and they'll take that scoop of the market, right? The DTC has a number of members, I can't remember how many it is right now, 7, 8, 9, 10, and does it really need that? Could we see that consolidate down to 3 or 4 over time? I'd expect so. How would that happen? Well, a couple of them will eat each other and 1 or 2 will come from nowhere and 1 or 2 of them will die. So Like the narrative about how the top 1% are getting richer and richer. It's also true that that top 1% are living and dying and being replaced by a whole new constituency of group of people. So it's the same with all of these institutions too. I can expect to see tectonic movements there shortly. So I hope that's some answer, Peter, but I'm not really doing a great job. Main media, yeah. How do we get them exposed in the main media to people that actually don't know what's going on? Well, we cause the squiz, right? During the squiz, there's going to be documentaries on every TV channel. There's going to be people, correspondents on all the news stations being sent off to interview people like Ape Andy, and to go to the stand outside the GameStop shops and say, we do not understand, how could this have happened, when all they needed to do was read Reddit or tune in one of these videos. How many days till margin call on GME? Good question. Depends on the exposure people have, and you know, at this level, people have got portfolios that margin themselves, right? So it was a question of how everything else is doing. This is all constantly in flux, that liquidation point for a huge player like Citadel. How many days? Hello, Peter. What I personally did in an attempt to get out on open is mail Michael Moore and Martin Armstrong. Oh, right, you're contacting the mainstream media yourself with this is a good idea. Yeah, the more people who do this, even no matter who it is, and perhaps even starting on a small local levels, you know, like the mainstream media won't cover this, like, and write into local newspapers and other things to get them interested. The more they hear about, like, that there's people willing to write them a letter, they think, well, if there's someone willing to write me a letter about this, that means there's 100 people out there willing to read an article on it, and they'll be motivated to do it for their own careers, right? Even just investigating it is interesting. Like, we've had similar scenarios in Scotland in the past with domestic stories that not being covered by certain news outlets, and you just need to get one or two journalists on the case, and they come up and realise that it'll change their career, right? Like, if somebody in the UK, one of the larger correspondents for the Guardian or the Independent, decided to do a proper investigation into the real reasons why we're so adamant that we're not going to sell. Like, you know, some of my GME shares I'll never sell because I am so pissed off with the way that these systems work. I am so sick to the back teeth of being taken advantage of because I'm willing to put in the effort to try and increase the quality of life by people that have got a huge bank balance and can just screw me over with using the rules. And not just when it comes to little things like trading, but bigger things like when I try to plan for my life and get mortgages and deposits. I'm trying to leave university to get a good job, and they come in and destroy the financial system. Like, I'm absolutely sick of it, and am I going to take it anymore? No, I'm not going to take it anymore. You know, I'm absolutely sick of it, and I'm not going to take it anymore, right? I am absolutely sick of this. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I am mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Citadel has no close. Yep, the Emperor with no close. They bent the MACD daily line back down. That's nutty. Well, I mean, it's bent back down, but remember that MACD, you're talking about the signal line or the MACD line on the MACD, and these things are only confirmed as and when they're actually confirmed. So we'll see how that goes. But on the same time, you know, these things you expect flux at the crossover point, especially at this point. We'll see what happens by Friday is my take on that. Still positive on it. Hey, nice to see you have so many people watching. Damn right it is. Thanks so much. Your work and dedication deserve much more. Thanks. Etienne, it's you. Thanks so much for saying that. It's really nice of you. It's great to see you, Etienne. Wow, you have changed and caused a lot of good things with your efforts, Etienne. I can't tell you enough in a short period of time how much your support has meant to various people, and the good cascading good effects of just the nice comments you've made and how they've gone. Thanks very much, Etienne. Exactly, we know now from people like you and all the DDs what's wrong. The question I have is what are Ape's going to do about it? Well, we're going to buy more and more GME. Yes, everyone has a phone, laptop, and or PC, so mail your independent journalists, etc. Exactly. Independent, exactly, right? The independent ones who can change their career, especially the ones who work between newspapers and who can take this to multiple editors and can give a proper investigative report on things. Like, there's an intense amount of people interested in this sort of thing. They just don't understand what's happening. So the more people who do it, the better. They also walk like a duck. Maybe they are a duck. Thanks for your time, man. Cheers from Norway. Good luck with your channel. Thanks very much, Peter. It's great. And I'm sure with more people like you viewing, the channel's success will only go from strength to strength. With a crowd like yourselves, I can't see anything but good things happening for GME. We've all got very strong diamond hands. Even if we haven't, a lot of us have. Enough of us probably have. And those who don't will be able to curse the duck or luck and the duck, curse their duck and rue the day. For the rest of us that kept the faith, it'll pay off in the end. Thanks very much. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in. Remember, give your love to Ape Andy from me. If you've my viewer and hadn't previously heard of Ape, I'm saying my, but I don't mean I own you. If you originated here and hadn't heard of Ape Andy before, please head over there and say a big massive hello and a big warm friendly hug from Jamie. And do the same for Rocky Outcrop, who will be joining us on Thursday to answer very highly technical questions about price action and how to analyse it, especially with reference to Elliott waves on various time frames, and with the Uchimoku cloud and how we can use it best during the squeeze to maximise profits. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks everybody for all the likes and shares and donations and comments. It all helps grow the channel and it all feels great for me in the moment. You know, not what it's going to get me later, if anything, but what you've already done for me today by being so nice is really appreciated. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Hi from Portsmouth in the UK. Hi from Portsmouth in the UK. And it's a bye from Jamie in Edinburgh. Thank you very much, folks. Lots of love. See you next time. The next time is Thursday.